This is a land of dreams and madness. Children's stories come to life.
Hello there. Welcome to Tales from Peridia. Today, we have a very special guest, Mr. Michael Havens from ICCC.
Hello.
This dude, he surprised me the other day when you popped up on Gazer's stream, because all Gazer told me was me and Kyber had to get on a live stream at 3 o'clock Eastern time and talk about ICCC. He didn't tell me you were popping up, so that was a very wonderful surprise.
Yeah, brother, he wanted to make a special announcement, and that's kind of right when I found out. He was like, "Let's do it." So I was like, "Hey, man," because you know me, whatever. You want to do media, I could always do media. That's a good thing about always shooting from the hip, and whatever people ask me, I just answer. So it's very, very easy to do this quickly. You know what I mean? I don't care.
Well, that's the beauty of Tales from Peridia. We're always shooting from the hip and kind of taking things like one step at a time. We never know exactly what we don't really plan anything out except for the questions.
Yeah, that's the most fun, man. You never know what's going to happen.
Oh, well, how are you doing on this fine Wednesday evening?
Oh, I'm great. We got actually a bunch of snow yesterday. Well, a bunch for Tennessee, 5 inches. And we had a meeting with the security detail and some other folks for the convention to go around through the rooms and stuff. And so we were all slip sliding in the parking lot this morning, but we did get there and we got it done. So it's been a good day, productive, even though usually when we get this much snow here, there's no productivity to be had. So
yeah, I'm in South Carolina and it's
you know how it is.
Yeah, it snowed here a couple weeks ago for the first time in 7 years. My Lord, did it pretty much just shut everything down. There was
every store door is just locked. There's no one on the roads, and everybody just waits for the sunshine to come back.
What's bad is it really wasn't even that much. It was only 3 inches or something like that.
And everything screeches to a halt. Well, see, I'm originally from Connecticut a bunch of years ago, and up there, I remember going to sleep, and you wake up with 15 inches of snow, but as long as it stops by 7 a.m., everything was plowed and you were still going to school that day. Down here they get 3 days off for 2 inches. It's really crazy.
Yeah. Luckily I don't have to deal with snow all that often, because I'm like Anakin with sand, with snow. I hate it. It's coarse, it's rough, it gets everywhere. It'd be cold in places that I didn't even know could be cold.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, before we get into some of the questions that we typically ask, why don't you go ahead and give us a little rundown of what ICCC is, and just kind of get the information out there.
Yeah. Well, it all started, I started a Facebook group for buying, selling, and trading Star Wars toys. And that Facebook group grew and grew and grew. That's called the Imperial Commissary. And it grew into 27 groups. And then people were like, "Oh, we should do a meetup in real life." And I said, "Sure, I'm going to be I think it was Lexington Comic-Con at the time. And I was like, "I'll be at Lexington Comic-Con. Let's find a place over there. We'll go to a bar or something. We'll meet in real life," from the Facebook groups. Somebody on the Facebook group was like, "I own a comic book shop in Lexington if you want to do it here." So I said, "Yeah, sure." I brought an original copy of Revenge of the Jedi, the preview, and we watched it on one of those old school cameras that you'd have in school that go tick, 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 tick on a wall. And we had Little Caesars pizza and some 2-liter bottles of soda, and we had 15 people. And Kim Simmons, the guy that takes the picture for all the Star Wars artwork, showed up. And then the next time we had 30 people, and then we had 50 and 200 and 500. So it just snowballed, man. And then it turned into a convention because I happened to be down here. I was renting a place to do a meetup. It was 4,000 square feet, but it was attached to a 178,000 square foot rodeo venue. And the lady goes, "Well, it's only 10 grand more from the 4,000 square foot room if you want to rent the 178,000 square foot rodeo venue." So I was like, "All right, whatever, let's give it a shot." And then I went on the Imperial Commissary and I was like, "Hey, listen, I just got 178,000 square feet. You guys want to throw a con with me?" And some people came out of the woodwork and were like, I throw conventions for this. I do this for conventions. I do this for security. I'm this kind of military. Can I help? And that's all that's happened, man. It's literally just a bunch of nerds doing all the stuff we do in our real jobs. Like in real life, I own a trucking company and a logistics brokerage. So I do the logistics for the convention. You know what I mean? It's what our real life skills are, just applied to Star Wars or sci-fi or, a Comic-Con. And we started that in 2008 or 2018. Nothing went horribly wrong. We had William Shatner there and a bunch of other Star Trek people. And I don't know, everything is just snowballed from there. Now it's freaking massive. There's like a bazillion people, and I'm still some dude who has no idea what he's doing, but it comes out really nice every year.
Yeah, I gotta say, I didn't know ICCC was a thing. I mean, to be honest with you, I just went to my first con last year,
Nice.
Ocala Comic Con. I met Star Wars Sith 66 Tony. He actually
Tony's awesome, man.
He kind of not really talked me into going to it, but somebody asked him like what's the next convention he was going to, because Tampa Bay had just happened, and I wanted to go because they had Hayden Christensen there, and of course, typical movie fashion, right as I get the money, somebody snags the last ticket and sells out Hayden. I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to meet any of the other guests there, so let's just go. Let's wait, I guess. And somebody was like, yeah, asked him. And he said, yeah, I'm going to Ocala Comic Con. They're going to have this person. They're going to have this person. They're going to have Shin Hati. And I was like, hold on. He's going. She's going. I got money. All right, we're going.
Yeah.
And then I think ICCC was like about a month after that. And just watching everybody's content. Like I had the opportunity to go last year, but I was like, I can't get that's literally too close within each other to get like this many days requested off. So it was like, oh man.
Well, that's why we do it every year for all the people that missed out last year.
But just seeing anytime I watch like a Star Wars celebration video or like anybody like filming any part of like the Star Wars fandom at any of the cons, like that's all I saw in everybody's videos and for ICCC last year. And I was like, dude, I need to go. Like I'm not missing it next year. I'm not gonna ever miss it because I know I'm gonna have a great time. Like
well,
so
we do try to be a convention for all different kinds of fandom and stuff like that, but it does lean heavy Star Wars. But it's just because I'm such a big Star Wars nerd in real life, man. Like I love this stuff, you know. So when it comes down to, oh, do you want the Star Wars prop or the Daredevil prop? I'm 90% of the time I'm gonna pick the Star Wars one.
Yeah, that's me. Like I got a couple other, like I've got some replica Harry Potter wands, but of course, what takes up most of the shelf?
Yeah, sure enough. But that's okay. We got Warwick Davis for you, who is Professor Flickwick in Harry Potter, man. You know,
dude, I was so excited to see that. Oh man.
I'm trying to look over here. Yeah, see, even I've got a dinosaur robot car. I mean, it's not all Star Wars.
Oh man, Gazer has a saying, because we've got a couple other podcasts where we don't just talk strictly Star Wars and all that. He's like, Star Wars of course is like our first like elementary school crush. Like it's always gonna be there. It's always number one, but we do like other things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
You kind of did answer next kind of off the wall question that I had, because I was a little bit confused. So it's not just a Star Wars convention, like there's other, because you said that you had
there are other things. We're actually here, I'll give you a little breaking hint, but we're working on a Ninja Turtle thing this year, because it's the 35th anniversary of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is cool. But yeah, no, it's essentially, man, it's just stuff from like, I don't know. It's all right. All the movies that you went out of the movie theater going, woo, I'm going to go back and see it tomorrow, and we're going to watch tomorrow, and then you go to your buddies tomorrow at the school, and you're all like, oh, you got to see blah, blah, blah. It's freaking awesome, man. It was so cool, and the thing came out of the blah, blah, blah. If it's a movie like that, that's really what we focus on. Or if it's a movie that involves toys, or if they have their toy line from it, that's what we focus on. All this gobbledygook that makes the ICCC, it means Imperial Commissary Collectors Convention. So pretty much anything that has a collectible, man, we're into. I mean, we've had people from Star Trek, Star Wars, Ninja Turtles. We've had some comic book artists. We've had Power Rangers. Some people from Back to the Future. We've had, I don't know, a whole bunch of different stuff. But it's kind of like if you still had DVDs, which some of us do, some of us don't. But whatever your like movie playlist is, that's pretty much what we're going off of. It's like, was it awesome? Was it super duper fun? And can you be a nerd about it? You know, is it cowabunga or whatever? Yeah, then it'll be at ICCC.
Oh, dude.
And we stay away from horror because, to be honest, it scares me and I don't like horror. So essentially, ICCC is just people walking around in my brain for a weekend. So.
Dude, I love it.
Like if Derek Jeter called me, I'd definitely be like, you could totally have a booth, bro, because I'm a Yankee fan. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah.
Yeah, I imagine ICCC being exactly like what you said, people walking around my brain, because that's all I literally just talking like movie references and movie quotes like all the time.
Yeah, if it is a quotable movie, there is a chance that something will be at ICCC about it.
Yeah, like my favorite one, my favorite movie of all time outside of any Star Wars original sixes is Clerks and Clerks 2. Like I love those movies, and I'm always telling everybody, like, don't get me wrong, I like Lord of the Rings. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and watch those 3 movies back to back to back. You got a better chance of me watching the sequel trilogy again than getting me to watch those movies back to back. But I always quote the one line from Clerks 2 is like, you know, there's only one return, and it ain't of the king, it's of the Jedi. Co-workers hate it because like they like Star Wars, but they're nothing like how me or you or Gazer or anybody else.
There's definitely different levels of this fandom for sure.
Like I'll be like I do maintenance work at my job, so I'm like stocking coolers and taking care of everything, and I work overnights. So I'm able to, like, it's less busy. I'm able to just pop my headphones in. I'm constantly listening to Star Wars books. And I was like, just start like, oh, dude, what? And my coworkers are like, what are you doing? Oh, never mind. You're listening to your Star Wars stuff. Go ahead. Go back to
your Star Wars stuff. Yeah, dude, I hear you. Not all of us are looking for the cutting edge experience of the Joe Rogan podcast. Sometimes we want to hear about like spaceships. Sorry.
Well, I mean, I can't lie. I've been on a bit of a Roger Christian binge because I was able to interview him about a month or so ago, and then I got him in contact with Gazer and Kyber Forge, the other guy that was on Gazer's stream the other day, and that's just hearing even talking to you about I just love hearing stories of like what got people into Star Wars, or like how the convention started, or like how they made the props for the movie. Like, it's just
Roger Christian has some great stories, man. He was the original builder on the lightsabers and stuff. Yeah, he's got some really quality stories for sure.
Like he's a legend. Like I want to pick his brain someday, because like I try to throw stuff together and it doesn't work, and I'm like, how did he do this in the 70s? And I can't even figure this out in 2025.
And he was doing it with like a bunch of parts off of like cars and washing machines and flashlights and stuff. It's like, whoa, man. Way harder than it is nowadays. You essentially just 3D print whatever shape you want, But back then he's like, oh, this will be perfect, and brings it home. And
Well, he's got this saying, and he tells it to everybody. Like, working in the movie industry, doing props and stuff, is basically being stranded on a desert island. You got a plane there and a bottle of green ink in your pocket, and somebody comes up to you and is like, "All right, I'll help you get off, but that plane's got to be red by tomorrow."
Yeah.
It's like, all right. I don't know how we're gonna make this work, but we gotta make it work.
But you get to paying.
All right, so some of our typical questions that we ask. Obviously, the first one is, what got you into Star Wars?
What got me into Star Wars? Way back in the day, I was a little kid and I was playing baseball, and I had a buddy, Mark Bodeguide, and he was into it. And that's what really got me into the collecting and going out and hunting for it, and finding it and figuring out that it fits in with GI Joe size stuff and stuff like that. But what really originally got me into it, my grandma's house. My grandma's house was about a half an hour away from our house, so when we would go down for family dinners and stuff like that, what the rule was, see, here's the thing: I'm half Italian on my father's side, and I'm half Czechoslovakian on my grandmother's side. And if you're not too familiar with those two different nationalities, Czechoslovakian food is a very different type of food than like lasagna. So if we went to grandma's house and we were good kids and we ate our, I don't know, lamb bone stew or whatever god awful creation it was, we would be able to go upstairs to the guest bedroom, and there were toys up there. And a set of those toys up there was a Millennium Falcon, an Imperial attack base, some Star Wars toys, stuff like that. So I remember playing with those when I was little, and I remember it being a reward as I was little. Like if you sat there and ate your dinner that you didn't want to eat because you're a little kid, man. You don't want like fancy lamb and split pea soup. That's just creepy to look at that bowl. You know what I mean? Like you're like pushing through it, like just do it. But so that was always a reward, was those Star Wars toys up there, and I'd get to play with them. And it was back in the day, a million years ago, where they'd be like, "Sure, kid, here's some matches. Go have fun," And you'd like melt down crayons in like a soup can. And I remember I found when I got my stuff back from my mom, because see, what happened is after high school, after mid high school, late high school, I became one of the cool kids on the football team. So it changed from collecting Star Wars toys to like dragging a keg into the woods, And so all that stuff went in the closet for like 10 years, all through college. And then when I got it back from my mom, when I moved to Tennessee, and I was almost married at that time, but we were engaged. And Andrea bought me a little Luke Skywalker, Luke in Stormtrooper outfit, the vintage one. For an anniversary, and I put it up on the shelf, and I was like, "Oh, that's so cool! I got to get my other stuff back, and I'll get one of each, and I'll put them on the shelves, and it'll be a cool display." If you ever say that when it's involved in Star Wars collecting or any kind of collecting, it is the biggest gateway addiction in the world. It's like, oh, I'm just going to get the complete set so it looks good. And then all of a sudden you're getting variants, and then you're getting ships and vehicles and play sets. And then you start branching out and you're like, oh, gee, I sure could use a French Millennium Falcon. And it's like, man, do you really need a French Millennium Falcon? But yes, and I have one, and it's pretty freaking cool. Like.
Yeah, but mine started out with just this one lightsaber. Actually got it right here. Just a typical random lightsaber. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to collect lightsabers.
I notice all the lightsabers behind you on the wall.
I've got 3 helmets up here. I've got it's ridiculous.
That's the best part about collections, though, is like collections are like, man, you can't fake it. It's like a thumbprint or a biography of each individual person. No collection is the same. They're all different, and they all evolve on their own. No matter what we think or how much we think we can control it, we don't. It's like, man, I bought this silly French piece of paper because it's got Boba Fett on it. And it cost me like $90, man, and it's like garbage from 40 years ago. But I like it, you know.
Yeah,
When I started being like, I just want a complete set, it didn't cross my mind that I might be buying $100 pieces of garbage.
yeah. Luckily, I haven't gotten to there yet.
Oh, give it time, bro. Give it time.
Well, I mean,
I've been doing this a while.
I showed you that one stack before of cards. I mean, I got another one right here. I've got a third one that just fell over. Like,
Yeah, those are mighty fine lightsabers, brother. Way to stick to it.
It's something about it, man.
Yeah.
And,
it's
like,
awesome, man. Real life is tough. And if you collect stuff, it's because you need a break from whatever it is you do on the day to day. And that break keeps our mental agility, and that keeps us going. So it's worth every penny. And the great news is unlike beer, it's worth just as much on the way out as it is on the way in, if not more. So I've never gone to a bar and spent $200 and then been like, got the money back the next day.
Yeah.
But you can do that with Star Wars stuff.
I've never spent $20 at a bar and pulled a 2 out of 5 Han Solo card. Like,
exactly. You are not going to get the one Budweiser that's worth like $1,000. It's just...
Even if you were to find out, I guarantee you already drank it.
Yeah, sure enough. And then you better hope it's the bottle that has the value.
Oh, so I gotta ask everybody who always comes on here, who's your favorite character in all of Star Wars? Like EU, canon, and like everything.
Yeah, it's Grand Admiral Thrawn for sure.
Really? I think that's the first time somebody's ever said that on this podcast.
Really? He's literally the best one. My favorite toy is Boba Fett. I always say that. Love Boba Fett. My favorite character in Star Wars is definitely Grand Admiral Thrawn. I like the way he plans. I like the way he thinks. I like the way he never ever lets the trolls get him elevated in any way. He is always thinking, always cool, calm, collective. I wish they would make some more toys of him. There's some all right ones out there, but they can make like 1 billion Grand Admiral Thrawn toys. I would very much enjoy a Chimera to hang from my ceiling, and I do not have one. But, get on that, HasLab.
See, please don't, because I've already been looking at like eBay and Amazon and like ships and stuff, and I'm looking around my room and like I literally have nowhere to put them.
Yeah, well, that's why you get the string and you hang them from the ceiling, and you're good.
Don't give me any ideas.
Dude, I built this whole thing up in my room, man, and it's got like it's all made out of PVC, right? It's like a big PVC frame, and then I got these big steel wires that go into studs in the wall through an eye hook, right? So what I can do is I can raise it and lower it. So it's about like, I'd say 8-9 foot high, and I have all vehicles hanging off it. So if you walk through it, it's like B-Wing, X-Wing, Y-Wing, TIE Fighter, you know what I mean? It's really cool, man. But yeah, that's from the ceiling. You could be surprised how much you can hang from the ceiling. You ain't done yet, brother.
Yeah, I feel like that's gonna have to wait until I get my own spot. I don't think my parents would appreciate me
drilling holes in the ceiling to hang spaceships.
I mean, they might let me do it as long as I, fix it whenever I leave. But
you'd be surprised, man. Even a tack will get it in there. You got popcorn ceiling? You can hide a lot on a popcorn ceiling.
That's funny you say that, because I actually do have a popcorn.
Yeah, buddy. Go at it. You're all right. Worst case scenario, you just go up there with a little thing of whiteout, man. Come on. You'll be all right.
Oh, man. So I'm assuming that you've played some Star Wars video games, or just any type of the games over your time in the fandom. What's your favorite Star Wars game of all time?
Oh, shoot, man. Shadows of the Empire, by far.
I don't think I've ever played that one.
Oh, dude, Nintendo 64. Shadows of the Empire. It takes place in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And Boba Fett's in there. IG-88's in there. You get to be Dash Rendar, who is essentially Han Solo. Like he's just like Han Solo. You get a cool vehicle. Yeah, man, definitely play it, even on an emulator or something. It's old school. And then I would say second best, I would say Knights of the Old Republic was a heck of a game. If they would redo that into like a brand new Zelda-y type format, it would be top shelf. And then, of course, Battlefront is awesome. Essentially Call of Duty with Star Wars, guys. Nothing wrong with that. And I don't remember what it was, but there's one where you put on the VR headset, and that is freaking awesome.
Oh, Vader Immortal?
I don't know. Is that what it is? I don't think I played that. You fly an X-Wing in the one I'm talking about.
Oh, no. I've got no idea. I just know that there's a VR one where you're somebody and you're like some like scoundrel or something, or like pirate, and you end up going to Vader's castle on Mustafar, and there's a whole thing where like you witness him trying to open up a portal to bring Padme back, and it doesn't work, and he just like flips his shit and just
Thanks, bro. There's $69.99. You just lost me because I'm going right to eBay after this or Google and trying to find it. So thanks, bro. No, man, it's like Squadrons or whatever. And it was like the first time I could ever play in an X-Wing, and it was a trip, dude. But it was like it's a short game, but it's still VR. But no, I didn't know there's a Darth Vader VR game. I should probably try that. That sounds freaking awesome.
Yeah, and the Vader Immortal is pretty recent. I'm not exactly sure what year it came out, but
don't you worry. I'm already Googling it right here, man.
Oh, but yeah.
It is a game I don't have, dude. I'm totally buying this thing. That's awesome, dude. $29.99, man. Look at that. You're getting me deals, brother. I love it.
Yeah.
I thought I was in the $70 boat. $30, I'm down, baby.
Shoot, I feel like Tony now, just telling you about deals that I didn't even know about.
Yeah, sure enough. Yeah, every time I go on Tony's podcast, I come off there about $500 poorer than when I went on it. Because it's like, hey, dude, did you see this? And I'm like, no, man, I didn't. Like, I don't know how he figures it out, dude, but he is the most breaking news guy that I've ever seen.
Dude,
he knows it's going to happen before it happens.
It's insane, bro. Like, me and him were at Ocala Comic-Con the same day, same time, everything. On my way back to my sister's house, because my sister lives in Florida, and she was like an hour and a half, 2 hours away from Ocala.
Nice.
I'm heading back. Literally like 30 minutes into the drive, I get a notification. Ocala Comic-Con vlog from Star Wars Sith. I'm like, we just left, dude. Like,
I don't know how he does it, dude. He's probably got one of those Teslas, and he's sitting in the passenger seat being like this while he's driving them wherever he goes.
Dude is seriously one of the hardest working YouTubers like of this.
He really is, man. But he's a really good dude too. He's really nice, man. He's a good dude.
Yeah, if it weren't for him, Ricky, Beyond the Dune Sea, I honestly wouldn't have known about ICCC. So I'm really glad that I didn't go last year so I could watch the content. Cause last year looked so great, man, and I guarantee this year is going to be even better.
Well, the thing is our venue is easily 3 times bigger this year than last year. See, last year, what happened is we went to the fairgrounds, which was huge. I had a demolition derby and a helicopter. It was freaking bonkers, dude. And like, it was way too big. It was like 280 acres, and I was trying to like fill all of it. So we had like a circus. We had a demolition derby. There was a helicopter that you could take helicopter rides. It was bonkers, man. I always do something a little crazy. Like, I had a zoo one year, and like the health and game or whatever tried to shut it down. There was like a dude in like a health and or whatever it is, he looked like a ranger or something. Yeah. And but we had all the permits and everything, so it was cool. And then we had like people be like, what did I just walk around that corner and was there an alligator dressed as Loki? And I'm like, yeah, man, it was, and it was like in a 4-star hotel. But that's the kind of craziness you be, because it's always, something random. But we went from such a big place, then we went back to the smaller place because the big place didn't like the way people dress up as Star Wars characters and stuff. It's a little bit too country and too old school. You know what I mean? So then we went back to the Sheraton, but the problem with the Sheraton is I sold everything out about 5 months before the show. There were no more vendor tables. There were no more, all that was left was some tickets. But even those sold out each day at the venue because it was such a smaller venue. So now we have a really nice, it's so nice, dude. Like you walk in like the 8 double doors and there's like a ticketing booth that's like permanently built into the wall. You know what I mean? Like it's like a legit place made for this. So we're super duper psyched, man. I was just walking through it again today and it's like so perfect. It's ridiculous. Well, usually we're like, trying to move stuff through a window. You know what I mean? This is like, here's a 12-foot roll-up door in the middle of the room. You know what I mean? It's like made for it. We're running like computer wires or Ethernet cable or like even power cables and stuff and like weaving them in between tables and under this and under that so nobody trips over them. And like this thing, there's like a carpeted floor with boxes that open up that have all that stuff in it. Like, it's like we're real people. It's freaking awesome, man. It's
dude, that's sick.
Yeah. It's the little things. When you're a convention promoter, you're happy where they put the sockets. Those are the things that make me happy.
Dude, I guess I must have a con promoter in me because I get stupidly excited over simple stuff like that sometimes.
Yeah, man. It's the little things. People don't think about it, but where the power outlet is actually a huge concern.
I can't lie. It was a bit hectic the day that you guys dropped the website or dropped the hotel reservations. Me and Gazer were live trying to do it, and Tony was having trouble. It let me do it, but then I realized that I put in the wrong dates and I needed to get there a little earlier. So I go to change it and it told me sold out, could not change my reservation. I'm like, oh, this sucks. This sucks so bad.
Let's see what happens, man. I go into these places and I try to warn them, right? And they always look at me like, yeah, right, dude, whatever. And I'm like, listen, at exactly this time, I'm going to say what the hotel is, and people are going to book it and like brute force your entire system to get their hotel rooms. And they're like, oh, yeah, all right, we'll be set up for it. Don't you worry. Dude, every single year I have crashed whatever hotel's website it's been. And it's not my fault. It's just everybody goes at once and they're like, they don't tell their IT guy. And then some poor IT guy on like a Monday at noon is like, what the heck just happened?
Dude, luckily it didn't crash for me. It like everything went smooth. It was after, it was like an hour or two after. Gazer was like, hey, did you put for the fort? I forgot what, I think he said like the 15th or something. And I was like, no, I didn't. He was like, you might want to try to do that. I was like, let's try. And it told me sold out, cannot change reservation. I was like, oh no. And then in the middle of me attempting to change it, somebody got the room from underneath me. And I was like, yo, what? And then I don't know, by some stroke of luck, it let me finally change the dates on another reservation. And I got it. And I was like, oh, okay.
It's a mad rush, dude. It really is. It's crazy.
It's like I had no problem with Ocala Comic-Con. Like, oh my god, this was crazy.
Well, see, the thing is everybody knows, even though it's not a technically sponsored IC event, but everybody knows that's where the room sales happen, man. So those hotel rooms are like gold. I'm sure people like resell their hotel room on the back end. They're like, oh, you want to be where the room sales are? I'll tell you what, I'm going to sleep in the bathroom, but you're going to give me $3,000. And, hey, man, whatever, do you? But we got the overflow hotels up now. So there's 3 other hotels you can choose from that are all within walking distance. And yeah, the host hotel, I always encourage people, if you're looking, just to put it in whenever, because you never know when somebody cancels a room. and then all of a sudden it ends up back in that hopper. But you got to just check it every time you're on the website if you're looking for a room, and then maybe you get lucky eventually.
Yeah. Luckily, me and Gazer have had the room reservations since they went live.
Yeah, you got to be on it. Well, that's the other thing is the ICCC has grown so much. I always want to be true to our true fans or our original fans. So the places where I announce like the hotel room is just like on the Facebook pages or even the Instagram or whatever, but only like my accounts and the ICCC accounts. Like I don't go out there and be like to the general public. The general public didn't even know that our tickets went on sale till January 1st. Everybody everybody ICCC. I think December 15th. You know what I mean? So that way it gives you guys a little section that you can have first opportunity. Because with baseball teams and stuff like that, man, I don't want the people with the most money down front being like woohoo. I want the people who care the most down front being like woohoo. So,
dude, I love that. That to me, that's basically like exactly like how I wish Disney would treat Star Wars. Like, quit trying to appease the big. I mean, obviously, Disney's a whole different ballpark. Like, they got big time investors. Everybody's got. Well, I'm sure every company's got investors that they got to make happy, but
not me. That's the whole point of this thing, man. I am a crazy person. I know. And that's the reason why I can keep it the way it is. You know what I mean? Where it can be nice, where people can come and have the opportunity to play together and blah, 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 blah. There is nobody I have to answer to.
Yeah, I remember you saying that you don't want the convention to be like, you walk in, see a couple cool booths, and then all of a sudden you got like 15 T-Mobile booths in a row.
Yeah, man. Because I'm looking for that immersive experience, and you can't do that if you're shopping car insurance, man.
It reminds me so much of George, not getting like the backing by Fox or Hollywood in general. And he's like, I didn't want their backing anyway. Like, I just wanted to make the movie. Like, you just want to have an amazing con experience. And I really can't wait to. May needs to hurry up, but at the same time, it needs to slow down so I could save up a little bit more money.
Well, I still got lots to do on my end too. I haven't even made the banners yet, so let's keep the timetable where it is. I kind of got a plan.
So you don't have to name drop anybody or anything, obviously, but like, are you guys done announcing guests, or do you guys like?
No, not even close.
That up till not even close. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I'd say we have probably like another 8 to 10 guest stars to release.
Really?
I mean, at least. Actually, probably like closer to 13 or 14. Because I know I have some in the hopper. The way we release, dude, here's the thing. We are not a corporate convention at all. As much as I joke around and say the buck stops here, it really does. I'm a crazy guy that has a really good job that made me some extra money, and I put that money into Star Wars, and I throw an event where people can actually enjoy the event and not feel like they've been run through a meat grinder at the end of it with their feet falling off and totally broke and blah, 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 blah. So that's what makes it. I'm glad you went to another convention before this one, because I've had people, they come to this convention first and then they go to other conventions trying to recreate that experience and they hate them. And the reason why is because it's not, as much as I have to say, oh, it's Comic-Con, oh, it's a convention, it's not. It is a 3-day party sleepover with a bunch of like 40-year-old nerds. You know what I mean? Like, it's like everybody all the time, there's something going on. There's events all night that have nothing to do with the convention, except that groups and people make them up and do them because the convention is the meeting spot. And because I allow them, like, people will be like, hey, I want to do a burlesque show one night. And I'm like, okay, well, make sure it doesn't get shut down by the, police or anything. Keep it somewhat PG-13 or whatever. But also somebody will be like, hey, I want to do church on Sunday morning. And if I'm not using the section at the time, what do I care if anybody wants to throw an event? So that's what I'm saying. We cater to every aspect of this fandom. If you like this, great. If you like that, great. And there will never be anyone that can attend ICCC and go to every single thing that happens, because some people aren't going to like some of it. Some people are going to like other things, and that's what makes it so special. We don't tell you what you can and cannot like. We don't tell you what you can and cannot do. You have to treat others with respect. You have to be respectful and nice while you're on site, or else we have the best security detail in the world that'll take care of that right quick. But it's not about anything that involves today. You literally stepped to a galaxy far, far away 40 years ago, and that's where it is. You know what I mean? So it's really neat, man. Everybody like just chills or hangs out, or they're having a glass of wine with like one of the guest stars at night, or it's wild, man. It is in no way like other conventions. And the only way that can be that way is if you have a crazy person like me that owns the entire thing. That's like, sure, you could vend out of your rooms at night. I don't care. You know what I mean? And then like, but that's insane for any other convention. It's a terrible business decision, but it makes magic. Sometimes the best business decision is not the best decision for fun or enjoyment. Yeah. You know what I mean? And the thing is since this isn't my business, I get that. And since I run the entire joint, I don't have somebody chirping in the back of my ear on a private jet going, hey, man, we've really got to up the SEO and the PPD and the GRB of the QRD, and this isn't the most profitable. And I'm like, just let them play video games in that room. And it's like, well, you lose money on that room and it costs you a lot of TVs. And I'm like, yeah, but video games are fun, right? You know? So I don't know. If I did have investors or people behind me, they would hate my guts, man, because it's like craziness. It's crazy. I had a helicopter in a demolition derby. There was no point. There was no point. None. But it was freaking awesome, man. You know what I mean?
That's the point.
That's the point. But it's very hard to find investors for it's freaking awesome, man.
Yeah. I mean, trust me, if I had the means and the funds, I would definitely be an investor for this. But
there you go.
Unfortunately, I don't think you could get very much done on like $2.50 a month.
Yeah, not so much, but every little bit helps, man. But you save up that $250, and then there you go. You got your ticket.
Oh man. Yeah, like I'm excited for like all the guest stars and all that, but I think what I'm most excited about is actually being able to finally meet everybody that I've met over the past year and some change that I've done this Star Wars side of YouTube, because I've done YouTube and music and tried other stuff for like 12 years since I was like 12 years old. I'm 24 going on 25 now. Nothing's really happened or
holy crap, dude, you're half my age. That's bonkers.
I don't feel so young. I can't lie to you, man. Like every time I get up, my knees pop, my back's always aching.
Please, dude, wait till you're doing 40 and then you're getting out of bed going, how the hell's my bed cost me $3,000, but my back is killing me.
But yeah, I'm just so excited. Like, yeah, it's cool that like I might have an interaction like how Tony talked about last year. Like he got in an elevator, next thing he knows, Warwick Davis is just scrolling in on his little scooter thing. Like, hey, can you press floor for me, please? Like, I'm looking forward to stuff like that, but I'm really just looking forward to finally meeting like you and Gazer and Kyber and just everybody else. Like even at Ocala Comic-Con, like, sure, meeting Shin obviously was like the highlight of the day, but my second favorite part was just like when I was stuck in line for 2 to 4 hours, like just the people I was talking to around me, like just hearing their stories, and it was just so fun. Like,
yeah,
there was no,
it's
like,
really a big family reunion, man. And the way we set it up, we always make sure there's plenty of like chairs or tables or spaces where you guys can sit down and have a beer and meet up or whatever. You know what I mean? So like most conventions, you'd be hard pressed to find one chair anywhere. But we always make sure to have like chairs and tables, a lobby, a place for people to, because that's what it is, man. It's all about that community aspect of people coming together. Because I don't know, man, it's tough to make friends. You're still young, but it's tough to make friends once you're 25 years old. You know, you don't like run into them at school or whatever. It's so That's why we really try. But again, if I had investors, terrible business decision. The reason why those other places don't have freaking chairs is because if you don't have a chair, you're walking around spending money. I'd
Yeah.
rather you sit down and hang out with your friends, man. I know it's a business mistake, but it's way better.
Shoot, man. I wish Ocala Comic Con would have had more chairs, or I would have had like a portable stool, because it was a small con from like everything else I've seen. Like it was nowhere near like New York or San Diego Comic Con
Yeah,
size. But
those
I mean,
things are
a good
huge.
bit of people there, but it's like they purposefully set up like only like 12 tables and like 6 chairs. It's like,
Oh, they do. They definitely do. That is completely purpose driven. I've been told numerous times that's what I need to do, and I've told them numerous times I'm not doing it.
yeah,
But
dude,
yes, that
like,
is a real convention thing. If you're ever thinking right now, if your viewers are ever thinking and they're like, you know what, now that I think about it, there never is a seat at a convention. Dude, there's some convention centers where they actually make the walls sloped so you can't just sit on the wall. It's messed up, man. But I don't know, dude. I don't like stuff like that. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make that experience more fun. Because if people have fun, who cares? Like, I'm not trying to make $1 billion. Granted, this convention loses a couple bucks every year, but every single year it's less couple of bucks, which is great. It's going in the right direction, you know? But
yeah,
I want people to hang out and have an amazing time, because what happens there is somebody like Tony comes because somebody tells him to come 3 years ago, right? And then he tells you guys and he tells other people. And the reason why is because of his experience. It's not because I've paid him to do that. It's not because I've told him to do that. It just happens. And the way that happens is they have fun. So they tell their friends. And that's my secret marketing plan. There you go. That's the R&D department for ICCC.
yeah, like
Let people
I
enjoy
can't wait.
themselves.
I can't wait to see who we end up bringing next year, when they see our content, because I mean, it obviously the word of mouth works. Like, whoever told Tony about it obviously got him to go, and then Ricky's seen it, and then he went, and then I saw their content last year, and now I'm going. And me and Gazer actually canceled. I canceled two conventions just to come to ICCC, because first it was Planet City. I was gonna go to MegaCon, and then Gazer was like, "Well, Planet City's coming up." And I was like, yeah, I was going to do MegaCon and ICCC, but I was like, well, screw MegaCon. We'll do Planet City Comic Con and then ICCC. Every time they went to go do a guest announcement, they were hyping it up and hyping it up. And I'm not trying to like talk trash like on the convention, obviously, but like the first bit of guests, they were like, yeah, such a big announcement. And then me and Gazer would go live and make a huge thing, and me in the chat and me and Gazer in the chat would all be like, okay, so who's this person? Like, I've never even heard of them. Like, they've been in this movie apparently, but I've never seen them. I don't know them. Like, were they
No.
like some extra? Like, I understand like background characters need love too, but
Well,
some
they'll
random.
always, those big cons always do end up getting the $700, $800 guest stars, but they're all corporate, man. They got a bunch of people chirping in their ears as how to spend their money. I'll tell you that much.
But after like
You will not find a chair there. But
after like the third time of me and Gazer not realizing like who the guest was, and like not really being excited for it, we were like, you know what? Just ICCC this year.
nice. I think you're gonna love it, brother. I really do. It's totally different than any other kind of convention out there.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, it's a sleepover, man. It's a giant sleepover with a million friends you never even knew you knew.
Yeah, I seriously can't wait. And I know I sound like a broken record when I say that, but that's
Nah, hey, man.
genuinely how excited I am. Like, anytime somebody at work asks me, like, what am I doing this summer? I'm like, I'm going to Nashville for my first time. They're like, "Oh, you going to a concert?" I'm like, "Nope, going to a Star Wars convention."
Don't worry, man. It's Nashville. I'm quite sure there'll be plenty of concerts going on too. So if you really got a hankering, I'm sure Travis Tritt is doing something somewhere.
Dude, I'm just trying to go see Sny Snoodles and the Max Rebo band.
There you go. That we can do.
Oh man. So I mentioned earlier how I listen to Star Wars audiobooks. If you've read any or listened to any, what's your favorite Star Wars book?
Oh, dude. Heir to the Empire for sure. I've read pretty much everything, man. I'm a Star Wars I'm like a legit nerd. That's the crazy thing. Usually, like the CEO of any convention, you could not do a trivia contest with, but I will gladly say I will stomp anyone in a trivia contest about Star Wars that exists. But no, man, I love everything Thrawn. If I'm going to go back to the old schools, anything Kevin J. Anderson was phenomenal. I love Bounty Hunter Tales. That's my favorite story of Boba Fett right there. Even Rogue Squadron was a great set of books, but definitely Timothy Zahn. And if you're going audiobook, anything Timothy Zahn read by Mark Thompson is the best. Period.
Dude.
And that's the only thing where I break your heart about missing last year is they were literally sitting in booths next to each other, dude.
I know. Like, I had listened to Heir to the Empire for the first time last year, right before ICCC. Seen Tony and everybody else's content of Timothy Zahn and Mark Thompson. And Tony was the one that actually brought it to my attention that Mark Thompson voices Thrawn and reads like all the anything pretty much Zahn, which I also found out that he voices or he reads the Revan novel by Drew. I always forget his last name. Starts with a K. And
see, I'll definitely download that and listen to it for sure.
Dude, it's insane.
Mark Thompson's great, dude. I actually, you know what? I was like, hey, Mark, I'm super big fan. I'm like, every time I'm mowing my lawn, I'm always listening to one of your audiobooks. And I was like, do you think that maybe you can make like the voicemail for ICCC? And he's like, sure, no problem, dude. So if you call the phone number for ICCC and get to the voicemail, it'll be like, thank you for calling ICCC. But it's in Thrawn's voice, dude.
Bro.
And it's bonkers. Because see, every once in a while, like regular people will call that number, you know, like, I don't know, the health department or like a lawyery type person or something. And they're like, dude, this is the weirdest message ever. Is this Mike Havens' phone? And blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, man, that's Grand Admiral Thrawn. But they have no freaking idea. You know what I mean? So it's like some dude talking really slow and creepy. It sounds, but it's Grand Admiral Thrawn. So it's cool, dude. I dig it. Mark Thompson was awesome, man. Mark Thompson was one of the guest stars that absolutely loved the way the convention was run because he does some Star Wars card game. I don't know which one it is, but some Star Wars like trading card game or whatever. Playing
it's
when
probably unlimited or something.
Probably something like that. But there were a couple people playing it in the lobby last year. And he's like, holy crap, are you playing, let's say, unlimited? Don't hold me to that, but are you playing unlimited? And they're like, yeah, we are. And he's like, hold on, I'm going to run to my room and grab my deck. And he like played like for 3 hours with these two random dudes in there, like and I'm like, Mark, you having fun? He's like, dude, this is the coolest thing ever, man. And it's just because he's like a legit nerd. So when we luck out and get one of our guest stars that is actually a legit nerd, they just freak out. I had one guest star that came years ago, and I remember he was like throwing out underwear and T-shirts so he could fit an Imperial shuttle, a vintage Imperial shuttle, into his suitcase to get back to Europe. Like he's like, dude, I got nothing. I'm like, do you want me to ship those to you? He's like, no, they're just underwear and T-shirts. They're cheap, you know. And so he threw them all out, and he's like, this Imperial shuttle, you can definitely fit an Imperial shuttle into a carry-on if you take the parts off right. I've seen it. It's doable.
See, I was gonna fly to Nashville, but then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, I'm probably gonna buy some stuff that I'm not gonna be able to like fit in a bag, and I definitely don't want to get it checked. And you know, I've only been on like 3 flights my entire life, so I was like, you know what, screw it. We're just gonna rent a car.
How far are you?
Like, I think I'm like 7-8 hours away.
Dude, that's nothing. Yeah, car is more fun, especially if you can pick up a couple friends along the way, turn it into a road trip.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
we were gonna time it out to where like I'm not exactly sure if Tony was gonna join us, but me and Gazer and his artist and basically anybody else that was like flying in at the same time, Gazer was gonna like time it perfectly to where he's pulling in as we're landing, so that way we could
Nice.
all just hop in his big SUV and just go to the hotel after that, so that way we didn't have to spend like $80 each on a freaking Uber.
Yeah. I always imagine with Tony, man, I always imagine like flying in a Gulfstream and getting into a Maybach or something. You know, it like just seems like that dude.
my YouTube chats have they've all decided that he's Darth Tenebrous and he's just got access to Plagueis's and Damask Holdings accounts. So
But he just seems like that guy, you know, that'd be like in the wind like this as he gets out of the jet, you know? I think
I do gotta say, he led me to all the fun stuff at my first Comic-Con, and then like by the time like you're looking at it and you go to turn around and be like, yo, this is cool. Dude is gone.
yeah.
Dude just poof, vanished.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, where did you like literally like we saw Shin Hadi's panel, got our photo ops. I go to show him my photo op. Dude's just gone. He's off
Yeah.
getting content for his channel. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
like I'm trying to get content for mine, trying to show them, show it me, showing you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, if you're talking to him and you lose the conversation if you're not engaging currently, because he's a wonderful person, and when you're talking to him, he gives you 110% of his undivided attention. But I'm telling you what, man, somebody drops like a cup in the kitchen and you turn around and look at it. By the time you turn back around, he's doing something else.
Yeah.
It must be tough to just sit and watch a movie with him or something like that. He doesn't seem like one of those kind of people that like sit there and watch things. He seems like he's always like, let's go do this or let's go over here because we got this thing going on, man, which is wonderful, man. Especially for a content creator. I mean, shoot, dude, it's so funny. Like, I'll post up like a new announcement or whatever, right? And I'll put it up on Instagram, and Tony's always the first. Always the first. He's like, oh, look at this coming to, and he puts it up, dude, and it's got like graphics and stuff and like this going on, and then a guy flying over here and specialized text, and it's like 17 seconds after I post. So I don't know if he's got like a template that he puts the post behind. I don't know, but he's ready to go, man. Tony's amazing, dude.
Dude,
But
yeah,
he really loves the show, and he tells so many people about it. So thanks, brother. You know, but that's how it all happens, man. It started from a Facebook group of nerds that collect old toys, and then it just people have told other people so many times that it's like thousands and thousands and thousands of people come. It's crazy.
dude, that I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, me too, man.
I
It's
haven't
super
even
fun.
been yet.
Yeah, you're gonna dig it, dude. You dig it.
Oh man. So I'm not gonna make you. I'll cut in like the little tour that you gave us on Gazer stream, so that way you don't have to get up and go to the part of your house that has no Wi-Fi. But what's your favorite collection piece?
Definitely anything Boba Fett. My favorite piece in my actual collection. Well, there's two different stories for that. My favorite piece, which is what people walk into my room and go, "Why the heck is that sitting there?" is a AFA 50 grade vintage B-wing pilot Power of the Force carded figure. It's worth maybe $100, and it's dead center in my room on like a pedestal. The reason why is because when I was a little kid, it was the only carded figure I ever saw with a coin. So I thought I got some ultra rare prototype something, and I like kept it in a bag and tried to keep it perfect for. It just shows, I don't know, collecting over time how you think it's like the rarest thing in the world, and then you like protect it and save it for like 20 years. I kept it like as safe as a human child could keep a carded figure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then finally I got it graded when I got back into collecting because I'm like, this will be my first one to get graded. It's in such good condition and it's amazing and I've taken such good care of it. And I sent it off to AFA and it came back as a 50, which is literally like half as good as good, you know? But it stays there, and the reason why, man, is because all the way between when I was a kid, all the way until I was older, even when I pulled it out, when I got my stuff back from my mom after I got that Luke Stormtrooper from Andrea, I pulled it out, and it still had that feeling of, holy crap, this is the rarest thing ever. You know what I mean? Until I like looked it up, and it's like, all right, it's like the most common power of the Force figure that exists in the world. But so that one always has a really special place in my heart, and that is always important to me. But I'd say as far as like the really rare one, that's like, what's the coolest thing in your collection? That would be the Boba Fett. I have a Boba Fett from Kim Simmons, who took the pictures for the box art for Kenner. So it's like the Boba Fett from the Slave One, from the picture on the front. So that one, which is cool because you could be like, I got that one. You know what I mean? And you really do. So yeah, I'd say that's like my favorite, rarest piece. I mean, it probably has the biggest price tag up there. But it's just a little 3 3/4 Boba Fett, but it's in a huge graded case with like a thing, and it's
Dude,
neat.
that's awesome.
Yeah, man. Well, Boba's my favorite guy by far, dude. I love Boba Fett. For figures. But I mean, he's like a medieval knight with a jetpack. How can you go wrong with that? Like, you went into my brain and figured out what would be cool and made it an action figure. Nice.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, this is probably like the most rarest one that I've got. It's a 2 out of 5 Han Solo from the Galaxy Chrome.
Nice.
But probably like obviously.
But your favorite is never the rarest. What's your favorite?
These aren't my originals, but the Revenge of the Sith, Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Nice,
figures,
dude.
like these ones.
Oh yeah. Those are cool, man. See?
Yeah, I Revenge of the Sith was the first Star Wars movie I ever saw in theaters. I was 5 years old.
Nice.
I'll never forget watching Anakin burn alive at 5 years old. That was a bit traumatizing. I kind of wish my parents had put their like, hey, let's kind of block out this part of the movie. But
you were really good for Santa Claus that year.
But actually, probably these right here would have to be my favorite and most memorable part of my collection. Obviously, the original trilogy. These are the same
widescreen too. Good man.
This is the first one. Like, I remember walking downstairs. I tell everybody this. I even made a skit on this channel about it. I went downstairs to go bother my grandpa one day, as typical 4-year-olds do, and he was watching the Star Wars. And I remember the scene exactly. It was when Obi-Wan and Darth Vader are fighting on the Death Star, and he's like, "When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master." And asking him a bunch of questions like, why is he a robot? Why is he fighting a robot? Just sit down and watch the movie.
Yeah.
It was over with from there.
And then it started,
until unfortunately Disney came out with The Last Jedi, and I was like, yep, we're getting a little too old for this. And then I started seeing clips of Rebels and Clone Wars, because unfortunately, even at 8 years old, whenever the Clone Wars did come out, I was like, oh, Star Wars cartoons are stupid. Anakin doesn't have a Padawan. Yeah, if you've got that mindset, just go ahead and watch them, please. Like, some of the best content that I missed out on.
The best advice I can give on Clone Wars is eat through the really crappy animation and weirdness of the first 2 seasons, and it'll be worth it.
And skip I'm sorry, I hate the arc with like the little green dude and the droids out in like the tundra. But just skip that arc. You don't need to see that. It adds nothing to the story. It's fine.
But by the time you get to like season 6 or something, man, it's bonkers. It's like some of the best stuff out there. And I loved Rebels. I'm a Rebels guy for sure. Yeah, man, I like some of the new stuff. The Last Jedi thing, man, all right, here, let's speculate. The Last Jedi thing didn't really make any sense at all. Like, they set up so many things in The Force Awakens, and I like The Force Awakens. I know some people don't like all of Disney Star Wars, but I really enjoyed The Force Awakens. I was super duper excited. It was the first Star Wars I've seen that was a movie for 40 years. You never thought they were going to make another one. Well, 20, 25 years, I guess. But you never thought they were going to make another one. And all of a sudden there's a Star Wars movie where they're flying the Millennium Falcon upside down, and it was neat, man. I really enjoyed it. And I was in the group where I was hashtagging Ezra is Snoke. You know what I mean? Because I was completely convinced that Ezra Bridger from Rebels was Snoke. All right.
So you're gonna have to fill me in. People thought Ezra was Snoke.
Yeah, dude.
I didn't watch Rebels until last year, leading up to Ahsoka.
Well, the thing is Ezra started being a bad guy, right?
Yeah,
and he started like getting into the like Jedi holocrons and Sith holocrons or whatever, and so I thought that during the time between Rebels and TFA, that maybe he turned to the dark side, right? And if he turned to the dark side, then it would be very simple to say he was Snoke that got burnt up or got whatever, or, you know what I mean? And I don't know if you watch TFA, they had a plan with Snoke, with Finn and Rey, with a whole bunch of different stuff. And then came The Last Jedi, which I don't understand why they did that, where they switched out the director without, like, it didn't make sense. And then they ruined Snoke. They totally just took him off the board for no reason. When Mark Hamill threw out the lightsaber, that's ridiculous. Like, it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? When Mark Hamill did the thing where he telepathically went to fight Kylo Ren instead of just going to fight him and died, and they missed the opportunity of him standing over that freaking X-Wing in the water and raising it out of the water to the Yoda theme, that's insane. That's being like, oh, I don't know who. I don't know. That's like being like, I don't know, like Neil Diamond or whatever with Sweet Caroline. That's like not playing Sweet Caroline, but playing like Ice Ice Baby and making Neil Diamond sing in it. It was bonkers. You know what I mean? Like, you already have the thing that works that everybody knows. Why wouldn't you? What a missed opportunity. What a missed opportunity with the lightsaber. What a missed opportunity with the Jedi training. What a missed opportunity with Skull Nalnik or whatever that island was. There was a lot of cool that could have happened in that movie, and they missed it, man. What a miss with Canto Bite. It could have been a cool thing, man, and it didn't have to be about, like, I don't know, what was it about, like horse rights or something?
Dude, to be honest with you, I've only seen the movie like 2 or 3 times, and
I've tried, dude. I try to rewatch it so I could see, but then, like, you get Leia frozen in space, and dude, there is no way to cut it. The only way that she could move through space, I don't care if you're a Jedi, not fine. Jedi breathing techniques, I'll give you that one. Luke did it in a couple books where his X-Wing got shot down and he's able to hold his breath. Fair, fine.
Heir to the Empire.
But you know what? Go and pick her up from floating around in space. She can't just start moving through space, because the only way to move through space is for some sort of propellant. So unless Leia ate 30 bean burritos right before she got blown out into space, there is no way for her to physically move like that through space. The thing is, but that's like, you can't even say that because people are like, oh no, it was wonderful. I mean, dude, okay. When I went to the movie theater, there was a sign outside the movie theater that said, at 1 hour and 46 minutes, the sound goes silent, but that's intended, or something like that. So, like, when they blow up when all of a sudden hyperspace works completely differently than it's worked in every other Star Wars movie ever. Like, dude, if hyperspace works like that, why didn't somebody just tape a brick to an X-Wing engine and take out the Death Star? Like, it would have been a grand total of like $30 for the Rebels to take out the Death Star, and no one would have died. Like, it's not how hyperspace works, man. Why? Explain me to this one. And I don't even know why I'm doing this, because I don't mean to be doing this. I'm not trying to pick on things. But see, the thing is sometimes, and I found this out recently with the Star Wars theory thing, sometimes people have problems with bad writing or bad movies, and they make it about politics and about nowadays things. I'm sorry, but here, let me say something very basic, okay? why, in what universe, would you completely disregard that the B-Wing exists and replace it with big, giant, slow, gravity-dropping bombs in space? Like at the beginning of that movie when it's flying over that Star Destroyer, which wasn't really a Star Destroyer with whatever you're going to do when you have the Star Destroyer. But what was that? Because like a B-Wing has bombs, it has lasers, it has proton torpedoes, it can do whatever at like 150,000 miles an hour, right? But instead, they got like something that they found in World War II that drops bombs that somehow there's gravity in space, which we're not allowed to talk about, that hit the thing and blow up and make fire in space, which we're not allowed to talk about. Like, what was that? And dude, I think one of the worst parts in any movie I ever seen was when they're getting like ready to like do the thing with like the gorilla AT-ATs, which in what world would you change the format of a foot of a giant walking machine to this from this? It's insane. But when they're all sitting there and they're all in the trench, right? And dude, as far as visually, them driving through that salt where it was red was cool, dude. That visually was awesome. But when the dude's sitting there and like they're all in the trench, right? And he goes like this, it's salt. It's like, what, dude? Like, it's a table spice from like America. What, do you even have salt in Star Wars? Is that a thing?
I can't lie.
Like the one thing that is universally unchallenged is salt exists everywhere. Like,
I can't
don't
lie,
they
man.
call it something?
Even back in 2017, even now, every time I rewatch that movie, or even just come across that scene on like my For You page, I bust out
he's
laughing
like,
because it's me,
salt.
I don't know why. It's just the fun. It's one of the funniest things to ever come out of the sequel trilogy. Just like in The Rise of Skywalker, freaking Kylo Ren, he pulls up on Exegol like to go after Rey, and he's running, and he jumps and he lands on like the giant chain that's holding the Star Destroyer. He's just, ow. Like, I bust out laughing during that, bro. Like, I don't know what it is about those two scenes, but they're just hilarious.
But it just, it's like, I don't know, man, but they take something and, all right, Benicio del Toro, he's one of the best actors that exists. We can all agree on that. He's made unbelievably great movies. You put him in that Last Jedi, and like the entire point of him was to be like, oh, didn't you know that Boeing makes the bad guy vehicles and the good guy vehicles? It's like, it's really weird, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And then you waste Benicio del Toro. Instead of having him be a cool smuggler or something, all he did was borrow her necklace and then explain how X-Wings and TIE fighters are made by the giant multinational conglomerate. If I'm going to get preached to, I don't need to be preached to by like a multinational conglomerate.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. But then J.J. Abrams came in and he shoved a whole bunch of crap back in that donkey, and the last movie was pretty darn good, I thought. So, but he must have been the most ticked out of any Star Wars fan because he's like, dude, I did so much work with Snoke and you just flushed him. I did so much work to make that Mark Hamill on, dude, I would love nothing more than for him to come back, redo a Last Jedi in the way that he wanted to do it. Because he had some sort of plan, man. And then when you watch those movies together, it's like the first one and the third one, you can definitely tell are part of the same trilogy. The second one is just like off the reservation. Completely different, doesn't fit in, very weird.
See, everybody always that I've talked to about it, they're always like, well, it's 3 different movies made by 3 different people. 2 of them are made by the same. These 3
but so are 4, 5, 6. Yeah.
These 3 movies right here, 3 different people, but the writing was coherent. They had you can't convince me that these guys had a plan in mind. No, they started writing each movie after the last one came out in theaters. You can't convince me otherwise. They wanted to see the fans' reactions, and then they were like, all right, throw those out the windows. We don't need them.
Yeah, no, it really made no sense. And the thing that ticks me most off about The Last Jedi is they released Solo way too early with a different crew in order to stop the bleeding from The Last Jedi, which totally screwed up Solo, which was a phenomenal movie.
Dude,
that gets no credit.
I went years without seeing Rogue One or Solo, and
Dude, Rogue One is super good.
for the longest time, I did not like Rogue One because I had a realization while I was ranking the movies one time. I was like, you'd think that a movie about the rebels getting the plans for the Death Star, and I was like, that's kind of the plot of A New Hope. I was like, we don't need Rogue One. And then I rewatched it for a watch party, and that movie is fantastic.
Yeah, it's a great flick, dude.
A lot better than what I thought it was. I still don't like Cassian or the Andor show, but that's...
Dude, you know what? I got to say on the Andor show, a lot of people love it. Man, it just, to me, and this is just to me, and I'm not trying to... Anyone, here's the thing. Any of my opinions, and this is something that has come into sharp relief with the Star Wars theory thing, because he has much more vocal opinions. So I want to start it off by saying that anyone can enjoy whatever part of Star Wars that they enjoy, and I am completely fine with that. Me personally, Andor was the slowest, most mind-boggling movie show ever in the history of the world. It took forever for everything. And for some reason, everyone was placated after like 40 hours of TV because you could see that it was parts of the Death Star at the end. Like,
dude.
Like, they were literally like sitting in a field talking about nothing for like the first 4 episodes.
I made it 6, not even a full 6 episodes. Every time I pass by them, I continue watching. I'm only like 15 minutes into episode 6. Every episode, I made it 15 to 30 minutes in and fell asleep.
Yes, and that's not your fault. You have a real job, and you're like, this is better to look at the back of my eyelids for the next 45 minutes instead of whatever's going on here. Because they're sitting there, and it's like, I don't know, it's like that TV show Prison Break. If like the Prison Break was planned and happened in like the last episode, and then you watch like 24 other episodes that had nothing to do with it. It was crazy, man. Was that the one? What was the one where they had? I think it was the Obi-Wan show. The Obi-Wan show, man. How long did dude cut salmon? I've seen less salmon cut on the Food Network, man. He was just sitting there cutting salmon for like 3 episodes. I understand that he's like downtrodden and he cuts salmon now for a living, but
you got the point across with the first scene.
Yeah, like I get it. In the first 10 seconds, he goes, gets his camel, goes back to his house. Okay, that's what Obi-Wan does now. I get it. But when he showed up at like the salmon factory on like the 15th day, I just felt like I was like following somebody around at like their job. And it was just like, oh. And the little girl that was in there was great. The young Leia. She is super fun, man. I liked her. I like that little droid in there.
Just her chase scenes were atrocious.
Yeah. And then like Darth Vader, the Darth Vader parts were cool. You know what I mean? They were definitely cool. But that's what I'm saying. Whatever happened in this fandom where you're not allowed to be like, well, I didn't like this part or this part. You know what, dude? Here, I'll bash on 4, 5, 6 for a real quick second. I'll bash on number 4. And I love the original trilogy, right? I'm old school. So, but when they are setting up and Leia is briefing the pilots, okay? Now, she is like the highest general going in the world right there, right? And she's like, well, we're going to attack and blah, 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 blah. And then some dude pipes up and goes, 2 fighters against a Star Destroyer? Or no, it's in Empire Strikes Back when they're about to leave for Hoth, right? And like, in what world is some pilot going to go tell the general that they're doing a bad job? And like, and it just sounds so ridiculous and so forced and so stupid. Now, because I don't like that, does that make me a horrible person? Or is it because it's 40 years ago, the statute of limitations is over? Because I'm sorry, man, there is no reason for Luke Skywalker to be walking around a mountain as a bum and sucking on a green milk, whatever that was. Like, what was that, dude?
Even Mark said, like, sure, Luke may have fallen on some difficult times. He might have taken a year to 5 years. But to completely remove himself and give up, and then don't even get me started. Like, as much as I love, like, it to me, that force projection was cool as shit.
It was
Like when he's
cool.
fighting Kylo.
If he would have
But
lived.
yeah, that him overdosing on the force, I was just like, you know what? My
I don't
buddy
think
had
it was a
walked out of
force,
the
man.
movie.
If you walk around and you drink out of random animal nipples, it's probably going to catch up to you.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like,
It's supposed to be a PG movie, man, and that was definitely creeping on PG-13. What happened on the side of that mountain?
like you said, like, what happened to not being able to like parts and like parts of movies and stuff like
Yeah,
that?
man.
This was my favorite movie growing up, Return of the Jedi.
I
But
loved
even
Return,
at 4
man.
years old, I hated whenever they, like, when the Ewoks and all that captured Luke and Leia. Like, to me, that movie comes to a giant grinding halt until Luke's like, oh, by the way, we're siblings. We kissed in the last movie. And Leia's like, yeah, I kind of always knew we were siblings. Like,
Yeah.
once that all happens and Luke goes up to the Death Star, movie picks right back up. But
yeah.
I don't like the Ewoks in that movie, even though I know those little bastards are scary and terrifying and
Yeah, murder bears, man. Yeah. No, and that's okay, man. Why can't you? And then but the thing is, all right, go ahead. You look at Return of the Jedi, right? The beginning of Return of the Jedi, when he's walking down the freaking shuttle thing, is bonkers great, right? Impressive, unbelievably impressive. And then the end, when they're lightsaber dueling in the Emperor's throne room, man, with that music behind it, a sister. Now your thoughts have betrayed her too. You know what I mean? Like, that was great, man. And yes, the Ewok thing was really weird and out of left field. But it still doesn't change the fact that Return of the Jedi can still be your favorite movie if you didn't like a part of it.
Yeah.
That's what's happening nowadays, man, and I don't like that. So, I don't know. I just caught a lot of grief for Star Wars Theory, and all I asked everybody was, what did he do wrong? And literally, nobody has any proof of anything he did wrong.
Yeah, no, like, I've followed him since like 2017, 2018. Literally every time that they come out and say that he did something or said something, he goes and, like, shows his Twitter and everybody's attacking him, saying the exact same stuff that they're accusing him of.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, that's great and fine and dandy. You don't like the dude. Cool. You don't agree with his take on Star Wars. Cool.
You don't have to like everybody in order to, that's, yeah. When did that ever become a thing? That everyone has to like everyone else?
But like the comments I seen on the post is some people are, oh, well, I'm not coming to ICCC now. It's like, okay, you don't like one of the guests. There's like 20 others that have already been announced, plus like the 14 or so that you still got on the back burner. It's like, yeah. I guarantee you're gonna find somebody else to meet.
Well, see, that's not even it, man. I don't know, man. Here's the thing, all right? ICCC, the point of it starting was it's supposed to be an inclusive con for everybody, okay? I didn't want the Singapore Airlines booth or T-Mobile booths to take over and control the convention. So everybody is supposed to come play nice together, and they're supposed to leave the politics at the door, and that's the point. And it's always worked, and it will always work, because that's what we drive home. The thing is when people start looking into things and accusing people, like say he was a, I don't know, murderer or something, which he is not. But say he was, and there was like factual evidence to that, obviously I wouldn't have him walking around. You know what I mean? But like, I'll be completely honest, dude. I am not that much of a podcast guy. I have never, ever even seen a Star Wars Theory podcast, except for all the ones that I've had to watch over the past 2 days while people are ranking on the poor guy. And all I have seen, man, because they'll send me a clip or whatever, or a Rolling Stone article or whatever, but everything is this one fan's opinion of, like, one fan of his had an opinion which people didn't like, or has said something that was inappropriate or something. The thing is if you're going to hold accountable every fan of every person, and you're going to hold that person accountable. Think of like Mark Hamill. He's got like 1 billion fans, right? So you're telling me that Mark Hamill is socially responsible for those 1 billion people? Because
Yeah,
that's impossible. That's what I'm saying. Like everything they have sent me or every complaint there has been, it just seems people that are so angry. And that's why, man, if he did something wrong, I would take action. But he hasn't done anything wrong, and I'm never going to be the guy that lets somebody in my DMs tell me it's your last chance to do the right thing. That does not sway me at all. Do you know what I mean? Facts sway me. And there are no facts that say this kid did anything bad. And I think the way people have acted towards him, as far as I can tell from the limited knowledge that I have been able to find or people have sent me, is ridiculous, man. It's all about some Rolling Stone article where like 3 of his fans commented on other people's posts and said something inappropriate. I bet you that those 3 of their fans, the only thing they do is not just walk around and do Star Wars theory all day long. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure they have other interests and other whatever. And I find it to be really ridiculous. It's a snowball that started rolling down a hill that has now gained so much snow around it. It's like this giant avalanche. So he's still coming, and I've been backing him for the post for 2 days. But people think I have some kind of horse in this show. I do not, but I will not let anyone on any side of things, and there shouldn't be sides of things. We're all Star Wars fans, but I won't let anyone cancel anybody else without, like, there's no any kind of proof or anything of proof of anything wrong. He seems like a nice guy that knows his Star Wars stuff, that has very, very vocal opinions. But I'll sit here right now and I'll say, man, I like TFA. Man, I liked the last one there, the Rise of Skywalker. I liked Andor. Or not Andor. What was the other one? Andor was fine. I get it. It just wasn't for me. You know what I mean? Some people like to kayak. I'm not one of them. It doesn't mean that you're not allowed to kayak. Go for it. But and some of those things he doesn't like, which is cool. People can have their own opinions, man. I mean, as far as one of the major things is because he said that the Acolyte, the writing was sloppy and blah, blah, blah. And people thought that it was him picking on girls because girls wrote the Acolyte. It wasn't. And he's even said it numerous times that the only reason why he said it is because it was bad writing and it didn't make sense. Dude, all right, sitting here right now with you, breaking news, the guy that runs ICCC, I didn't like Acolyte. The only thing I thought that was good about Acolyte is it had the best hand-to-hand fighting sequences in any Star Wars movie ever. The fighting sequences, hand-to-hand combat, were phenomenal. The sheer fact that a bunch of Jedi can walk into a shop with a dark Jedi and they don't get a little bit of a feeling off that is bonkers. The sheer fact that you spent an episode showing me that there's these big secret bees in trees that are going to kill everybody, and then one bee gets cut in half, that was bad writing. The sheer fact that I had to see another bad guy getting out of another lake or body wash or shower with a top half naked with a high belt is insane. Stop doing it. The fact that they took Darth Plagueis, that we have all been sitting there for 25 years begging to see Darth Plagueis' story, and they made him some weird tarantula thing in a cave. If you've read a single freaking book, you know that Darth Plagueis would be regular age and look normal at that time, right?
He probably
man.
Wouldn't be on his own. He would be under Tenebris with the time. It
was really sloppy writing.
I've said this since the thing came out, since the first episode. They contradicted themselves with the timeline because they said first it was 100 years before the Phantom Menace. All right, cool. That's 100.
I'm down. I'm ready to watch it. Sign me up, baby. Yeah.
But when you say 100 years before the rise of the Galactic Empire, to me,
what does that even mean?
The rise of the Empire is the end of episode 3. That's you contradicted and messed up the timeline, and we're not even going to get on the fact that they brought on Conehead and Yoda he can sense Order 66 happening, but
dude, how garbage was that where they just threw Yoda's back of the head at the end of the freaking show, oh, there's Yoda, so everybody be like, oh, there's Yoda, what for? What did Yoda do?
See,
He sat on a
my
couch
buddy,
for the next 5 episodes or 5 movies.
my buddy Kyber Forge, he said that's actually just Yaddle before she put her wig on in the morning.
Yeah, sure enough.
That's why
But
they
dude,
weren't
that's the
able to
thing is
sense it.
we're never gonna get cool content. Man, I like Skeleton Crew, but we're never gonna get cool content without them. At least there's got to be some way that we can comment on the good and bad things of Star Wars without people getting offended and angry. And taking it as we're commenting on the people making it. Because it's not about that, dude. I guarantee you, and I don't know Star Wars theory hardly at all. I've talked to him a couple times on the phone. He has a bazillion followers on YouTube. Dude, the only reason why I use YouTube is if I can't figure out how to fix something in my house. I'm old. Okay? Like, if I need to know how to rewire a light switch, I'm on YouTube. Otherwise, I'm not. But I guarantee you, if you went to him and you were like, "Hey, man, was I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't know. Was like this cool or was that cool or did you enjoy this?" I'm sure there's things that he enjoyed as well, but everybody focuses on that. I don't know, man. It's like everybody focuses that he said the act. All right, I bet you if you went to him and you were like, "Hey, dude, what do you think of Bryce Dallas Hayward or Howard?" and he'd be like, "She makes dope shows, man." Right?
Yeah.
Like it's not, there's some incredibly great women producers, writers, and blah 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 blah. And I think that, and this is just conjecture, but I think that what he was saying is on Acolyte they weren't good. And the thing is, man, is they kind of weren't. There was seriously, where is the awesome scene from Acolyte that happened? Where is the epic thing that happened? The brand new knowledge, the coolest thing that happened. I mean, I don't know, man. The Darth Plagueis thing is a massive loss. The all right, you know what ticked me off? Here, and before it gets edited into shorter clips and people pass this around the internet to tell me I'm a horrible person, there were the witches, okay? Now, if you have watched anything EU or anything Star Wars in your life, if they would have just taken a little bit of red paint and put it on those witches, they would have become Night Sisters, which is canon and valid and obvious and blatantly, ridiculously obvious. It's like the same kind of coven. It's the same thing.
What's
The
funny
Night Sisters.
is Leslie Headland actually went to Dave Filoni and wanted to make them Night Sisters, but he was like, "No, the Night Sisters wouldn't do anything like this. You're not touching my Night Sisters. Like that's not how they act in canon."
Well, then what
They're
happened
not
is Dave
making one
Filoni saw the
conscious
script
split.
before she asked and was like, "Dude, you can't put my name on this. You literally have a guy walking around with a McDonald's helmet on, smiling like the Joker." Like, oh my gosh, man. That's like straight. What is his name? What is his name? Hold on. Saw arm or saw head or something? It's like some anime guy. Look it
I've
up.
got no
Chainsaw.
idea.
Look up Chainsaw Man. You got a computer there?
Yeah. Well,
Look
I'm on
up
my phone right
Chainsaw. It might be Chainsaw Face or something from anime. The only reason why I know is because my sister's little kids, they read the anime stuff that I don't know anything about. And there was this guy at ICCC 2 years ago that was dressed up as Chainsaw Man. I think it's Chainsaw Head or Chainsaw Face, or type in like Chainsaw Face anime or whatever, and he'll come up. And he was dressed up at the con that year. It's the exact same helmet as Milo Ren. Yeah, dude, it's exactly the same. So they just totally jacked it from some anime show. And I'm sitting there looking at it like, what are you thinking? But dude, it's like the same. I mean, like,
Dude, now
it's
that
the
you say
same.
that, my buddy was because I'm
I don't know why you
typically
podcaster guys didn't pick up on that. You're all younger than me. I don't know anything about
I don't
anime.
watch anime, so
Neither do I. Yeah, I don't know.
But my buddy and I, the Canardian Jedi, he's another podcaster on YouTube, but we were doing we were talking about the Acolyte, and I was like, typically I hate when they change anything. Like I'm terrified whenever they bring the Heir to the Empire movie in, because as cool as the Ahsoka storyline is and Balin and all that, I want them to stick to as close to the source material for Heir to the Empire as ever. Like my buddy, he's like, oh well, I want Mara Jade, or I want Shin to take over the role of Mara Jade. No, keep Mara Jade as Mara Jade. Keep Shin as Shin.
Dude, if Mara Jade doesn't have red hair, that's a crime against humanity.
Typically, I hate any changes or something like that, but you know, I would have been completely fine if they would have been like, hey, this Chimere dude, he's actually Venomous from the Plagueis novel.
Yeah,
I would have been fine with that because my buddy said that the helmet, like in like the Dark Forest episodes when he's fighting, say somebody survived, all you're gonna think is that big bulb head, and you're gonna think that maybe it was a Biff. It was like, okay, but now that you pointed out that it's like Chainsaw Man face or whatever,
it's literally a carbon copy of an anime character. They didn't even try. But I don't know why nobody's talking about that. But those are the problems I had with it, man. I didn't have any problems with who the writers were. I didn't have any problems with who the cast was. I didn't have any problems with, I don't know, the big thing was the Night Sisters like creating kids out of the Force. I didn't care. That's fine. But they weren't Night Sisters. Like, I don't know, man. I didn't know about that Dave Filoni thing. That's freaking bonkers. So that means they went to him and were like, look, these are just like the Night Sisters. Can we use a little bit of red paint? And he's like, nah, man, leave me out of it. But nobody's got a problem with that out there. Nobody's out there with torches and pitchforks for Dave Filoni.
See, my trust in him has been shaken because he did put a stop to that, but he didn't put a stop to them having the twins be born through the Force or whatever it is that they want to call it at that point. Because
yeah, but see, I don't really mind that because we got the Anakin midichlorian thing. That, you know, remember when they were talking into the Gillette razors?
Yeah.
But the midichlorian thing and coming out of nowhere, I can even get on board with that, man. But I don't know, dude. You know what else? All right, the Boba Fett show, right?
I made one episode into the actual show and then skipped to the Luke Skywalker episode.
Dude, I watched it all, man, and I freaking love Boba Fett, but it made me sad. And I wasn't sad. I don't think it was female writers for that. I wasn't sad because of that. I was sad because my hero character, they made really old and crotchety. They put him in a bacta tank the whole time. He gets surrounded by 3 people, and he couldn't just fly away with his jetpack because it didn't register in his head. The thing that drove me nuts, they pull out poor Danny Trejo at 99 years old or whatever on a freaking cart to be like, it's Danny Trejo. I don't like that kind of stuff. But my problem is that at the end of the Boba Fett show, what was it? Oh shoot, I lost my train of thought, man. But it was something I can't remember. I know.
You were just talking about.
Oh, I got it. At the end of the Boba Fett show, right? They had those awfully horrible speeder bikes that were different colors, right?
I've heard so much about this. I need to actually see this scene.
Oh yeah, you gotta watch it. It's out of control.
Don't watch it.
It would have been fine if those speeder bike things like had damage from sand and rocks. I mean, if you've ever driven your car through a dirt road, you get damaged. It's just factual. Or yeah, well there you go. Don't you get some scratches and stuff? Well, these things look pristine, like showroom floor pristine, driving through the deserts of Tatooine, right? Now, here's the thing. This secret club of, I don't know, android people or whatever, they had like parts, right? Mm-hmm. They had like, here he's got an optical eye. Here this one has a robot arm or whatever. You know what I mean? Cool, right? Cool idea. And then at the end of that episode, like they were all talking, and then like a door opens in the back room, and like someone comes out, and they end up being like, I don't know, I need this part or whatever. But dude, if that person that came out was Darth Maul on spider legs, it would have melted the internet. And it was very easily doable because Darth Maul, you know, when he gets the spider legs eventually, he is like half human and half android. So it would have fit perfectly as him being like the leader of that crew. But they totally missed it. Man, they miss things like that all the time. And if they just talk to some of us Star Wars nerds, dude, it would be like, listen, man, put a red stripe on the witches and make them Night Sisters. It'd be like, listen, man, there is no gravity in space. It would be like, listen, man, even though a Jedi can technically hold their breath, they cannot move through space like that unless they're flatulating out of their back end.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like I'm in the midst of writing like my own like sequel trilogy, I guess.
Nice. I did
And
one of those once, bro.
I've taken it's taking me forever because like I want to get Luke just right. And I really don't know much about EU Luke. Like for the longest time, this is the Luke Skywalker I knew and love and grew
Yeah.
up with, you know? And like I've watched so many like 4 or 5 hour lore compilation videos. I started reading Heir to the Empire and I'm on Dark Force Rising now. I mean, it's my
Nice.
favorite thing. I went and bought the Luke Skywalker figure.
Nice. Yeah.
And even like me and my buddy were working on this what if like for what if Darth Maul and Balin Skull first met. And I mean, we racked brains and bashed together ideas and we sent it off for people to read and they're like, dude, you guys nailed the characters. Like this is something I could actually see like what happened in the universe. And like, why is it so hard for these people getting paid millions of dollars to write
Because
something?
they are getting paid millions of dollars. They are not nerds that know this stuff like the back of their hand because they love it. I don't care how much you pay somebody for a job, it's always going to be a job. When they're doing it for passion and love, it's always better.
Yeah, like
Yeah, dude.
I mean, it we've sent it off to like 10 people now, and 7 of the 10 have gotten back to us already, and like 6 out of the 7 been like, dude, this is airtight. Like this is
Nice.
how are you guys writing better than Disney? And it's like, because we care. That's the problem. Like they don't care.
Well, the thing is they have a franchise and they have to tick a bunch of boxes, and that's understandable. You know what I mean? It's a giant corporation. Corporations have to run like corporations. And there can be Star Wars that certain people like and certain people don't like, and that's fine too. But I am sick and tired of us living in a world where, I don't know, where people are bashing on my thread for the past day and a half because I announced a guy that makes YouTube videos that had an opinion about a show that, to tell you the truth, even though I don't agree with most of his opinions on the other things that I've had to watch, like, dude, I like Skeleton Crew. I like some of the Disney stuff. I like TFA, but I have a really hard time defending Acolyte because I do not right now sitting with you remember a part of that show where I went, that is phenomenally awesome. Even in the Boba Fett show, man, which I didn't, or even in the Obi-Wan show, which had slow parts, it had freaking awesome Vader scenes. The little girl that played Leia was phenomenal. There were great parts of that show. With Acolyte, I cannot recall a single part where I was like, that's awesome. Maybe with Trinity in the beginning, but to tell you the truth, that could have been a scene out of the Matrix. Like it was just somebody being like, and plus I got a real problem with them casting people where it makes me go Trinity from the Matrix, Danny Trejo, Jack Black. You know what I mean? I don't like that.
Yeah.
Like I want whomever to be some dude they found on the street that nobody knows, and then he is the king of whatever planet it is. I don't want it to be Jack Black being like, yeah, buddy, all right, I'm Jack Black. Because it's like weird, man. I'm supposed to be in a galaxy far, far away. Not that I do not enjoy Jack Black. There's certain Jack Black things I like. Man, I love me some Kung Fu Panda. But, like, I'm not trying to think that Kung Fu Panda's running a government with Lizzo in the middle of space. Like, it's weird, man. And we're not even allowed to say stuff is weird or doesn't make sense anymore. I don't know. All I know is I have watched more YouTube videos of things in the past day and a half just because of that one post for Star Wars Theory. And everything I see, it's like people don't allow other people to have opinions anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the only thing I've ever really seen of him being like an asshole towards anybody was when he brought these people onto his podcast on his channel, and one of the dudes was like, yeah, you need to like censor yourself, you need to quit being so vocal about your opinion. And he's like, no,
that's literally what he does.
You can get the hell off my show. Like, I'm not gonna. He's like, well, the American politics. He's like, I'm fucking Canadian, dude. What the fuck do I care about your politics for?
Yeah, sure enough. That's the other thing. He's from Canada, and everybody thinks he's talking about American politics. It's very strange. I don't understand what happened there. But I have looked and looked and looked over the past day and a half to try to find anything, man. And I mean, he's never said, because, man, I am all about, women writers and women in business, man. Bryce Dallas Hayward is phenomenal. Every single show she makes, I happen to really, really like. So that's not it. I mean, I just don't understand why people can't look at it. And any of these people, you go, okay, give me an awesome scene from The Acolyte. Oh, give me something incredible that happened in The Acolyte. And they can't give it to you. I'm sorry, dude. I am an old person, and I was around when Michael Jackson lit his head on fire on that Pepsi commercial. That's what happens to hair when you touch it with fire.
Kinda,
Like, am I supposed to sit there and be like, cutting it with a lightsaber like this is like, okay? Like, you know what I mean? Am I supposed to just completely detach myself from reality and say, if you touch a lightsaber to a head of hair, it's not going to immediately catch fire like you're the dude from, like, Hercules?
Yeah.
Like, how am I supposed to believe that, man? And dude, I'm telling you, the thing that ticked me off the most, it wasn't that they didn't make the Witches Night Sisters, which was a no freaking brainer, dude. No brainer. But it's because of the Darth Plagueis thing. Darth Plagueis, if you've read anything about EU, if you're aware of anything of Star Wars lore, should not look like that at that time in the timeline. He should look like Grand Moff Tarkin or something. You know what I mean?
I really couldn't see him that well. Don't tell me he had the respirator on that early.
Dude, he was like completely covered in a hood like this, and he had like these yellow eyes or red yellow eyes, right? And he was like, but he wouldn't be like that. He'd be like an influential senator or something, right?
Yeah.
Am I screwed up with my timeline?
No, they definitely tried to take elements from the Plagueis novel, because the best way that I can try to make it make sense.
Yes, but the Plagueis novel when he was older.
Exactly. I was like, I tried to make it make sense one time. I was like, well, he's obviously just he's hunting like the other Sith pretenders, like that. That's what it is. That's all it is. And then I finished the Plagueis book for the first time a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, there's no way in hell that they could. I can't even make it make sense anymore.
But no, honestly, man, I don't.
Isn't even my favorite book. Like, it's a good book, but I don't think it's the best Star Wars novel that everybody makes.
No, man, you know what was really good, dude? Darth Bane. You read those?
Dude.
Oh, dude.
I love the Darth Bane books. I love it.
Yeah, Darth Bane is no joke, man. Yeah.
Everybody's always saying, oh, these old school Star Wars fans, they hate new women characters. Bring Darth Zana into live action.
Yeah, please. Man, sign me up.
You.
Sign me up. Like, no, it's got nothing to do with that, dude. I love Mara Jade, man. I love Princess Leia. Give me who's the strong female lead in even Acolyte, man? The girl that was twins.
We all love Padme.
Yeah, Padme, dude. I'll even give you, man, I like Starbuck. Yeah, Shin. Yeah, sure enough. That's a good show, man. Even Rosario does a pretty good job. The problem with Rosario Dawson is she's so unbelievably famous in everything else. You look at her and you don't go Ahsoka, you go Rosario Dawson in your head.
Yeah,
and plus she does this a lot.
Every time I look at Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka, the first thing that pops in my head is Lady from Clerks.
Yeah. Or Men in Black, or 8 billion other movies and TV she's been in. The first thing that pops in your head is Rosario Dawson. And I think that's a big, big problem with Star Wars that nobody really focuses on. They keep going with like famous actors. They don't need the famous actor. The famous part of the show is it's Star Wars. It's already famous. I mean, I didn't like Mark Hamill because I didn't like Luke Skywalker because it was like, I don't know who was famous at that time. Sean Connery. I liked it because it was like, there's a farm boy that nobody knows that impacts the galaxy, right? That's the story. And if we all knew who he was beforehand, it wouldn't have been cool, man. I mean, Harrison Ford is the only one that you can even sort of argue because he was also Indiana Jones at the time. But as long as you're a real nerd, you could just say Indiana Jones took place when Han Solo was in Carbonite, and it was just a dream of his. So
Dude,
therefore, it
I
doesn't even
love that
screw up any
theory.
timelines.
I love that. I love that so much. Like I remember hearing that growing up. I'm like,
Yeah, man.
what?
And that's why his shirt's untucked, you know? And like, yeah. But that's what I'm saying, man. I think that people would get behind Star Wars. You want me to fix all Disney Star Wars? I can tell you how to do it right now. Number one, what you do is you make sure that the content creator is a Star Wars nerd. If you would like to do that by sitting them down and making them do actual trivia, fine. But I think both Rian Johnson and whomever did the Acolyte, I don't really know her other stuff, but I don't think they could win a trivia contest for Star Wars. I just don't think they could.
Yeah, no, because apparently, according to the Acolyte's showrunner, robots are gay and lesbians. So it, you know.
I didn't know that, but also that's never come up in Star Wars for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's been no sexual orientation type things in Star Wars for me. It's never. I watch Star Wars because they're all PG. I mean, that's not what I'm there for. But I'm also not the guy that likes, like, I don't know. Star Wars to me is PG. It's an escape to when I was a little kid. I was unaware she said that. See, the thing is I also don't watch news or TV or whatever. But I don't think anybody has. All right, Boba Fett. I don't know what Boba Fett likes or doesn't like, or what his proclivities are, or whatever. He's Boba
I just
Fett.
know he's
Who
not getting his
cares?
ass handed to him 4 minutes into his own TV show after
Sure
being
enough.
a badass in The Mandalorian. Like,
Yeah, no, that was bonkers. Well, dude, that even as much as they want to pretend that didn't totally flop because they totally screwed it up, it did. And that's the reason why they took the first 2 episodes from the next season of Mandalorian and put it in the middle of the Boba Fett show, which they had to redo. But a blind person could see that those were the first 2 episodes of the next season of Mandalorian.
yeah, I remember finishing season 2 and going into season 3 of The Mandalorian. 'Cause I watched Ahsoka and then I binged everything else. I gotta
Ahsoka was
say,
all right, man. And as long as Grand Admiral Thrawn ends up being thin with a clean cut suit when he gets back to like real space, then I'm cool with it. I like
but
Ahsoka.
shit, I lost my train of thought.
Sorry, bro.
Oh, Mando season 2.
Yeah.
I finished, that fantastic ending of Mando season 2, seeing Luke Skywalker be Luke Skywalker. I cried whenever that first dropped, or whenever I first saw it, 'cause I didn't know anything about it at the time. I didn't like the Disney Plus stuff, but when I saw that, it changed my mind. And then I go in, he takes Grogu, they leave. And all of a sudden, I start season 3, and Mando pulls up with Grogu, and I text my buddy. I'm like, "Hey, why is Grogu back already? Like, he just left with Luke." He's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, you need to go and watch these 2 middle episodes of the Book of Boba Fett to understand season 3." I'm like, "Why did they? Why?" And he's like, "Just watch
Because
the
Book of Boba Fett
and
had
you'll see
3
why."
people watching it until they gave us 2 Mandalorian episodes. Because it was terrible. Man, Book of Boba Fett was ridiculously bad. I mean, it wasn't. What cool thing happened? You know what? The best thing that happened in Book of Boba Fett? The dude from Justified was the marshal. And that was it. Well, Raylan Givens, man, in space. I dug that part, and I'm a Boba Fett fan, man. And Boba Fett had absolutely nothing to do with current day politics or anything about that. The reason why Boba Fett was garbage is because they took a beloved character. Here's the thing, dude. Those people have not read any EU Boba Fett books. They have no concept of who Boba Fett is. They just made him up from the movies that they saw. It was like somebody that does a book report in high school off of the movie instead of the book. And there's like a glaring mistake that's missing in the middle because you didn't read the book. That's what the
Sounds
Boba
like
Fett
me
show
in
was.
sophomore year of English class.
Yeah, man. I mean, I was that guy too. I can't lie. But you know how the teacher would like catch you and they'd be like, "Oh, so what happened with blah, blah, blah?" And you'd be like, "I don't know." But it was like the most important part of the book that wasn't in the actual movie for a Harry Potter guy. What was it? The dragon. The whole dragon thing, right? Nordberg.
Yeah.
How they just cut Norbert out of the movie, but he was in the book. So that's the thing.
There's
And
a
they
whole
just,
subplot where they like go to sneak off to the top of the tower to
yeah,
get him off
that was a
safely.
cool part, man. I was really bummed when that wasn't in there. But that's what I'm saying. And same thing with Book of Boba Fett, dude. It wasn't people who know Boba Fett that made that. And the other thing, dude, stop taking your freaking helmets off. You're supposed to be Mandalorians. I understand you're famous actors that you want everybody to see your face so your rank goes up on IMDb or whatever. But like, I know Tamara Morrison's in there, supposed to be, or whatever. We're cool with that. Like, put the Boba Fett helmet on. I mean, Boba Fett didn't remove his helmet for like 100 years or whatever. Dude, even the Book of Boba Fett thing. All right. You remember that fan film that came out where Boba Fett crawls out of the Sarlacc pit?
Yeah.
That was phenomenally better than the opening scene where what even happened there? And then he goes back to the Sarlacc pit and he like flies the slave one that you can't call the slave one because nobody reads a freaking book. Okay? A slave
Boba
circuit in
Fett's
Star
warship.
Wars it's a slave circuit because you use it with your watch to call your vehicle, or like, you know how we have keys in our pocket where you can warm up your car? Essentially the same idea. That's a slave circuit in Star Wars. That's why the slave one is called the slave one, because Boba Fett can type into his keypad on here and bring his vehicle or have it shoot, which, by the way, return all the way back to the best video game for Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire. He calls in the slave one at one part, which proves it has a slave circuit. So anyway, and the thing is, they got all up in arms. You got to call it the fire spray now, because a bunch of people who have never read a Star Wars book just took it out of context. And it just keeps happening, dude. But like, the slave one was called the slave one because it is slaved to Boba Fett. It's not because it like has slaves. So Boba Fett wasn't that guy. He was a bounty hunter. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, man. And they didn't have him be that bounty hunter, be that stoic Boba Fett. Like, he even did some things like where it was like questionable, underhanded, like scumbaggy kind of bad guy things.
Yeah.
Whereas Boba Fett has always been like super honorable. I would say like the best thing I could say Boba Fett as is like a Ronin or something, like a samurai that's a rent out samurai. You know what I mean? But he still has those core values, man. And one of those is don't take off your freaking helmet.
Yeah. See, I wish I knew more about like EU Boba Fett. Like
Dude,
I really
read
don't.
Kevin J. Anderson's The Bounty Hunter Tales. I'm telling you, write it down. It is the best Boba Fett story ever. It even talks about like when he brought Leia and like Jabba gives Leia to him as like a present for like bringing her. And he like sits in the corner and meditates while she like is afraid he's going to mess with her all night. Like, Boba Fett was like solid, dude. Stoic, awesome. Kevin J. Anderson, Bounty Hunter Tales, read the Boba Fett story. And it goes all the way through to like him and Han Solo as old dudes meeting up again. Like, it's quality, dude. Check it out.
Oh, dude.
And it's a short story because there's like 20 different Bounty Hunter Tales in there or something, or like 7 or whatever. But yeah, just read the Boba Fett one, man. Even if I think it's even on YouTube. Somebody like reads it or whatever. So definitely worth it.
Yeah, because I've been kind of preoccupied with like all the Old Republic novels and stuff, because I've tried playing KOTOR, but I don't like the fighting mechanics and all that.
It's terrible.
Plus, I keep getting lost in the sewers. Like, I have yet to make it off the first planet.
No, it's clunky, man, but the story's there. But it's clunky.
Like, I just finished the Deceived novel, and I pretty much just call that the Old Republic MMO video game novel, because it's pretty much that first trailer that you see. It's Malgus taking over the Jedi Temple, which I don't understand how in the Star Wars universe the Republic just allows all these catastrophic events to happen over the course of like 3 days, because Malgus was the course of 3 days. Revenge of the Sith takes over the course of 4 days. How bad are you guys at? And not to mention, this ain't the first time that they took over, the Jedi Temple and the Republic. Like, this is a recurring thing, like every 300 years or so.
Yeah, you should really put up a tower or something. Like,
But you think after like the 600th freaking hyperspace lane war, they'd
yeah,
kind of
maybe
get
you park
over.
a Star Destroyer up there just in case. You know.
Oh, well, before we
Uh,
get out of here, because we have been going on, 2 hours. It has not felt like 2 hours at all.
that's what happens, man, when you're just chatting with friends. It's I don't know. That's what happens when it's real Star Wars nerds. You could talk forever. We could talk for another 12 hours. But I do have to eat eventually, so.
What's funny is that my dad's actually got dinner cooking and it smells really good.
Ah, nice. There you go, man. Before you start drooling on the screen, close it out.
We got two more questions. First
Yep.
one, gotta always ask this. What's your favorite movie and show from Star Wars?
Okay, I am supposed to say Empire Strikes Back, but but I was born in 1980, so it's actually Return of the Jedi.
Dude, I love it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you freaking alarms. Every episode I got an alarm going off.
No worries.
Yeah,
And you're busy. You're a busy guy. Mover and a shaker. That's all it is.
yeah, typically everybody always says Empire or Revenge of the Sith, but
Yeah.
there's been like Ricky, he said Attack of the Clones, you Return of the Jedi. I forget what my buddy Outpost said. He said random off the wall one that like nobody had ever. Oh no, he started with Empire, and most people I've talked to either started with one or four, and him starting with five, which is like my favorite movie of all time, period. And then my other buddy started with Revenge of the Sith, which is my other all time favorite. It's like, oh, whoa, that's never happened. And now we got first time for Return of the Jedi. Like,
Hey man, I'll be honest. So that's the thing, dude. If you believe me, I get the Ewok section with you. I actually like the Ewok section enough because I was really young when it was what I saw, so it kind of fit. But dude, the beginning of Return of the Jedi with the Imperial shuttle and going into the Death Star was some of the. I mean, that was like one of the most epic scenes in a movie since Ben-Hur. You know what I mean? It was no joke. And then the end, where Luke goes from good to bad to good again, and Darth Vader comes back from the dark side, was some of the best 10 minutes of media I've ever seen in my entire life. It is so passionate and so moving, and the music by John Williams behind it is the most phenomenal. It's just incredible. And people don't give Return of the Jedi burn because it's just like, it's the same thing as, the people that complain about other things. They're like, oh, you don't love the Ewoks, or oh, you don't love this because it blah blah blah. It was made for kids, and it's like, yeah, but why can't I just like the beginning and the end? You know. But it was, man, the ending of Return of the Jedi was some of the best. And I mean, the original ending, not the nonsense where they fly around and you young kids show. The ending where Lando's clapping by a fire. That's what I'm talking about, baby.
well, I've got those 2004 special releases, but ever since I got this beauty,
Yeah.
I can't. I mean, to be fair with you, this one I love it because it doesn't have Vader screaming no.
No, yeah.
I absolutely
Prepare my
hate
shuttle
that
for
ad,
me.
dude. Like
Yeah.
it would be like when Anakin and Padme are looking out of the windows in Revenge of the Sith, and he's got that single tear. Just imagine he goes to like he's like, I got to go help Palpatine. No, and he's running. Like that would just ruin the moment. It ruined it in Return of the Jedi. And
Well, dude, in the special edition, what drives me nuts is Vader in Empire goes, have my Star Destroyer prepare for my arrival. Let me ask you something. If you're Darth Vader's Star Destroyer, aren't you always getting prepared for his arrival? Or do you just wait till he phones ahead? You're like Darth Vader's Star Destroyer, man. Like, your whole day is making sure that when he shows up, you're ready. But
It depends
I don't
on who
know.
he promoted to captain that day.
Yeah, sure enough. Yeah.
They might still be getting over the shock of watching their coworker get choked out in front of them.
They ain't gonna last long if his bath isn't ready when he flies in there, man. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, and before we go ahead and do the outro and get out of here, is there any
Yeah.
tips or words of wisdoms for the people watching at home?
Yes. Remember that Star Wars is for fun, and it should be happiness and it should be fun. And for the love of everything good in this world, leave your stupid modern nonsense of politics and hate and current events and everything out of Star Wars. It is not a reality show here, folks. It is not the news. It takes place in a galaxy far, far away. Just enjoy it for what it is. If you like lightsabers, great. If you like Night Sisters that you don't call Night Sisters, great. It doesn't affect me either way, but stop. I don't know, man. People say the division and stuff, and I don't really experience it because see, most of the stuff I do, it's old school. It's like vintage toys and stuff like that, and we don't get into whatever Disney does. I mean, half the people that collect vintage Star Wars toys are like, "All Disney Star Wars is the garbage," and they say that because it's like they're kind of old and lost their what it's like to be a kid
Yeah.
thing, you know what I mean? Like me, luckily, I'm completely immature and I can watch something like Skeleton Crew and be like, I want to find a Jedi temple in the woods. You know what I mean? Like, please. But, like, some people don't have that, and that's okay too. But I am sick and tired of people in this world telling people how they can or cannot enjoy anything. I don't care if it's what you feel at home, what you feel in love, what you feel in reality, what you feel in Star Wars. There's absolutely no reason for everybody not to enjoy what they like, and for everybody else to let them enjoy what they like. And if you don't like this or you don't like that, that's fine, dude. We keep talking and communicating till we both find out something we like a Star Wars novel read by Mark Thompson.
Yeah, I mean,
But you know what I'm saying? I think that's what happens is people end up at each other's throats instead of just talking it out and getting to a point where you find out what you have in common instead of finding out all the things that you don't.
Yeah, like I mean, one of my co-hosts that like I'll bring on to this channel, like me and him, we have vastly different opinions on Skeleton Crew, and like me and him go at we'll get at each other's throats over like Bane versus Plagueis or something like
Yeah.
that. But it's like you said, we come to, or even like he loves Kenobi, and in my opinion, I don't think Kenobi tried hard enough to bring Anakin back to the light side in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, that's kind of valid, dude. I mean, I'll go on a little bit on you there. But he was kind of like, come to the light. And Anakin's like, nah. And Kenobi's like, all right, let's fight. Like,
but like we end like, yeah, I mean, there's been a couple
plus, he
times
kind of totally brought Padme there, man, like on his own accord. She was like 8 months pregnant. And he's like, listen, I'm going to need you to get into your ship and fly me out there so I could talk to your husband.
well,
And that was like,
that's the thing. I didn't notice it until like last year rewatching it. Kenobi, she didn't even know Kenobi was there. Kenobi just snuck on the ship.
exactly.
And ever since I noticed that, I've been seeing these posts about it, and he's like, Padme was this close to bringing Anakin back till he looked up and seen Kenobi standing there like a shark looking for blood. Like,
Yeah,
bro,
or they
just
could
give
have,
her like 2
rolled
more
out and become
seconds.
like done the Tony Montana thing. You know what I mean? And they could have been like an evil power couple. I was down for it. I would have watched that show.
But I mean, there's been time, I guarantee, like, there's probably been times like he gets as shaky as I am, or like I could tell his anger's starting to well up
Yeah.
when we're going at it. But then we like we'll find something. We're like, okay, well, this happened to him, and that I could see where you're coming from for that. Okay. I mean, I still don't like him that much, or I still don't like this project that much, but you like what you like, and I like what I like. I mean, I'm not here to tell you what to like and what not to
Exactly,
like.
man. That's what I'm saying. At what point did we become a society that has to tell others how to act around us? I mean,
When
Dude,
everybody
you
started
can like
getting
whatever you
offended.
want. You know what? Believe it or not, people tell me all the time, I like Star Trek. And it's not like I walk down the road punching them in the face because they like Star Trek instead of Star Wars.
No,
But
I
that's
just
what I
removed them
see
from my
now. And
StreamYards.
here's the thing, all you young bucks, all you young kids, I mean, I'm old and I'm a curmudgeon and that's fine. And I have 100% of the convention, so I don't care. But you young folks, man, the stuff you got to go through, it's like you're just constantly, there's landmines everywhere and you're just constantly trying to avoid them. I don't understand whatever happened to it being all right to be an individual or to have your own opinions or your own ideas. That's how everything, where do you think Star Wars came from? You think George Lucas didn't get told it was complete nonsense and insanity 400 times before Fox finally said, fine, dude, go ahead?
Shoot, even whenever they finally did sign him on, Roger Christian told us that like they had to show Fox and everybody like the props that they had made. Roger said that Fox took one look at one blaster and shoved everything else off the table and was like, "This is garbage."
Yeah, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. If they're, I don't know, man. It seems like, I don't know. I wish you guys the best of luck. I'm already married and everything, so I'm old. Like it's over. I'm just kind of waiting on like retirement, broken hip, and death. So, so it doesn't really matter to me. But, but yeah, if I can give one thing to the next generation of Star Wars fans, remember it's Star Wars. It's supposed to be about love, happiness, and inclusion of everyone and everyone's opinions. And you don't have to agree. That's what makes it wonderful and gives us things to talk about. You know what I mean? If everybody agrees and is like, blah, blah, blah is the best ever, and everybody agrees on the exact same everything about Star Wars, think of how unbelievably boring every conversation would be.
Oh, dude, I at Ocala, there was it wasn't really like a heated debate, like people weren't getting angry or anything, but it was a very
And they should.
entertaining debate watching these two older guys go back and forth about why Jar Jar was the best or like the worst character in the Phantom Menace. Like they weren't like, "Oh, well, you're not a real Star Wars fan." He's just like, "Well, I just didn't like how he, he's so clumsy and everything." And the other guy's like, "Well, that's part of his character. That's the point of him. He's
Yeah. But it's okay to either like Jar Jar or not like Jar Jar. It's okay. And granted, yes, some people were mean online, but dude, have you met the internet? Like, has anyone actually met the internet? And I think what it is because see, like for me, man, I have a lot of followers, a lot of pages, lots of stuff like that. I have a pretty decent sized reach around the world on the internet, and so there's lots of different opinions and lots of different ideas and lots of and that's fine. Like you don't have to agree with me all the time to be civil, you know.
yeah."
And I don't know, on some of these posts recently, it's just been people that are just screaming at the top of their lungs because they're so angry. And I just feel so sad that, I don't know, that their regular life isn't happier or that they can't find that enjoyment and that release and that escape in Star Wars, or that they can't just change the YouTube channel they don't like or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not there like, I don't know, dude. I personally, I'm not a big fan of reality TV. I don't know if I've ever seen anything reality TV. But I also have not watched 47 seasons of Survivor and just complained constantly about how much I hate it and how wrong the show is and how horrible it is. But I've watched 475,000 hours of this show that I supposedly hate. You know what I mean? It's really weird,
Yeah.
dude. And I only see it in Star Wars. Like, man, I'm not a fan of kale. It doesn't mean I don't want people to be able to eat kale.
Oh, if you're
I
just
prefer
willingly
bacon.
eating raw, yeah.
But it's okay
I mean,
if you don't like bacon. That's more bacon for me as far as I'm concerned.
exactly. I mean, like at ICCC, man, if you ever want my bacon, bro, just come and ask. I mean, I don't eat bacon
Sure
like
enough.
that.
Well, if you're staying at the host hotel, we got free breakfast in the morning, and that's how you turn it into a pitch.
Yeah, it was funny. Me, Gazer, and Kyber Forge were all just kind of chilling and talking with Ricky last night about ICCC and MegaCon and all that. And Gazer was like, "Yeah, man, I'm hoping that they got mini fridges because, you know, like we're going to go when we get there, we're going to get some snacks for the, you know, the room and stuff. And he's like, I want to get me some cereal and all that. I said, why? They have breakfast in the morning at the hotel. He's like,
and it's like a
I
buffet with an
forgot
omelet
about
bar. It's like
that.
nice, man. It's like a good breakfast. It's not like, you know, a rough bagel and turkey sausage. It's like nice. But if you like rough bagels and turkey sausages, I'm not trying to pick on you. That's totally your right. So
I am. Who are you to be eating freaking rough bagels? Get out of here.
I don't know.
But
It's 90%, you know, barley, but it really helps with my indigestion. It's like, great, bro. I'm gonna have a blueberry muffin. Have a great day. Like, I like the one that's gonna stop my heart covered in sugar. Can we get one of those? And but it's fine if you want to blend kale and eat that. That's cool, man. I don't know. That's the thing, dude. I think, and that's what I really want to. I'm gonna really start doing that with my platform and ICCC. Is just people have to play nicely together. If you don't like somebody's whatever or you don't like their whatever, stop. Play nice together, or else you can't come. You know what I mean? I am not, because I've even had people that have PM'd me and they're like, if you don't do the right thing here, and like threatening me. And all I'm doing is throwing a free show. Like, I mean, I don't even make money off this thing, dude. That's why it's so cool. Like, I don't add prices. Like, I don't add money onto the price of autographs or anything. You know what I mean? I hook up people with free tables, club tables, free press badges, this, that, and the other, because I just want to grow this hobby. You know what I mean? And the thing is like, people are being like, unless you do the right thing and get rid of theory, and it's just on my mind. I'm sorry that it's been on my mind for this podcast episode that we've been talking.
Dude.
But I haven't really had to experience that. You know what I mean? Where people are literally threatening me if I keep him on the thing. And the thing is I've always asked back, just show me something that he's actually done wrong. Here's the thing. He has a massive following. Okay. And I hope he advertises the ever-living heck out of ICCC on it, so it's worth all the fire I've got. You know what I mean? But he just says his opinions about Star Wars stuff. I have not seen him say anything involving any kind of politics at all. And the thing is maybe I don't know, man, because I'm just old. You know what I mean? I'm not hip. I'm not with it. I don't know what's going on. But I don't know, man. He's like some Canadian dude that talks about Star Wars, and you'd think he was like locking up children in Barbados or something. I mean, it's crazy. It's
unless he's speaking in some like super scientific, like secret service code or something.
Yeah.
I've seen damn near all of his videos, and I've yet to see him be like, I mean, I guess there was one time, maybe, supposedly he told everybody to go attack J.J. Abrams for wanting to bring in Coruscant, but ultimately cutting it from episode 7 or something. But I've yet to even see that video or live stream or whatever it was.
Well, see, I heard it was he wrote a thing to J.J. Abrams that said, "J.J., you suck," or something like that. It's like,
I don't even know about that one. I just know
I didn't even see that. Yeah, no, that's what so I didn't even hear about the one you're talking about. But that's what I'm saying, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm hoping somebody sees your video here and they reach out and explain to me what my old decrepit person doesn't understand, because I don't get it, dude. I do not understand where the hate is.
25-year-old ass, please do, because I mean,
like I'm saying, okay, for example, we've sold a bazillion ICCC hats, right? Or a billion ICCC shirts. So you're telling me if somebody gets like a DUI on September 15th of next year in an ICCC shirt that like I have to go to court for that person?
Yeah, that's pretty much how they make it out to be.
Dude, that's exactly what's been happening. They're all like, oh, well, one of his fans said something that was toxic or something. Dude, have you ever been on like a Mark Hamill Twitter thread and read through it? There's like some people that say horrible things on there, and those are fans of Mark Hamill. Does Mark Hamill have to go and like go to court to defend what somebody said on one of his Twitter posts? I don't know, man. It's crazy, dude. I've never seen anything like it. But the wonderful thing is as I said before, there's no corporations behind me. You could try to cancel me. I'm going to be here tomorrow. There's nothing you can do to stop me. I'm literally a crazy person with a little bit too much money.
I'm going to sound a little selfish here, but, you know, you don't want to come to ICCC because Theory's showing up. That means less people for me to wait in line to go see him. That's less people that I won't have to deal with. You know, it's just I'm not really a people person, despite how like I come across like here. Like I absolutely hate big crowds. So you know, if a couple people don't want to come to the con because Theory's there, oh well, I'm sorry. Like,
well, that's the thing that they
I'm
forget,
there to
man,
see
is
my
that
friends and have a good time.
they forget that I was throwing this thing in a rodeo arena that is 178,000 square feet with 700 attendees the first year with 16 guest stars. Like, I do not care, man. My friends are going to be there. Everybody who loves Star Wars is going to be there. You guys are going to be there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. People, you know what's been the funniest thing, dude, is people go, whoever's answering this Instagram post is a total jerk, or way to have this guy representing your company. And none of them understand it's me on the toilet at like 4 a.m. being like, because dude, this is just a party for a bunch of nerds. For some
Dude,
reason, they think I'm like MegaCon and I got like a Instagram department or something. Like,
my favorite one was somebody accusing you of going through and hiding comments and deleting comments. And all
yeah.
you got to do is just hit more replies, and there's every single comment on the post.
Because I don't delete it. What
Like,
do I
bro,
care what
I've
you say on the
never.
internet? Go ahead.
It's like if anything's being hidden, it's by Instagram. It's not by me.
Yeah.
I'm the only one who's got access to this account.
I have not deleted any. That's the thing. Yeah, they're like, I've even gotten direct messages on my Facebook from people going, "Hey, whoever's the misogynist that's running your Instagram account is deleting our blah 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 blah." And I'm like, what? Like, dude, it's like, here's the phone, dude. Like, here it is. Like, I'm the guy. It's like I'm just a nerd that threw a meetup for my nerd Star Wars toy group, and now like 20,000 people show up. It's like I'm still a nerd, man. Like, I mean, like, you know, here's a Star Wars guy that's in reach. I just bought this a little bit ago. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just some freaking nerd, man. Like, there's Princess Leia on my wall. There, look at how horrible I am. My entire wall behind me is filled with women from new movies.
Yeah.
Like, this is in my house. I live here. That's Ray Leia. I got a Boba over there because I like Boba Fett. I even got the little dude from freaking that steals the coins. Does this mean I'm like a international crime thief? Because I got the dude that steals the coins from freaking Harry Potter or whatever it is, the new Harry Potter. Because he's cute. He's a little guy that steals coins. So that must mean I'm like robbing the Federal Reserve. But here you go. Here's the horrible person that runs a show that doesn't charge any increase on autographs, any increase on tables, has the least expensive vendor tables in the world, doesn't let in horrible things like T-Mobile to ruin your experience, who literally sits in a room every day surrounded by strong, empowered women on Star Wars. But yes, I am that guy too. What the heck, man? Like, this is where I really live, dude. Look at that. Like, right there, people have accused me of being a hater of those things, and I love them. So,
Dude, that
it's really crazy, man. Because, see, the thing is, I'm usually vintage Star Wars toys. So everybody's like over 45 years old. This is not something that ever comes up in our generation, bro. It's your younger generation where you guys, I don't know. Maybe it's, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Because I haven't had a tough life or anything, but I sure as heck know how to dig a hole, you know? And maybe that's what it is like, if you never do manual labor in your life, you don't really realize that there are like hard things to do in the world. And like clicking past a YouTube channel is not a hard thing to do in this.
Yeah, sometimes I think people forget that there's a little X at the top of their screen.
Yeah.
And you could just, or even like on YouTube, there's it's not even like at the top of the screen, it's damn near the top, but there's this little thing called the search bar.
Yeah.
And you can literally look up whatever you want to watch.
Anything. It's really crazy. Yeah.
You don't have to, just because it's recommended on your feed doesn't mean you have to watch it.
Sometimes there's even a little microphone button, so you could literally be illiterate and not know how to type and still watch whatever you want to watch.
And there's this beautiful thing that I personally love to use every time I get rubbed off the wrong way by another content creator. And, sometimes it's not even worth the drama. There's this little beautiful thing called the block button, or hide this user from my profile.
Do you know what's crazy?
Magically, you don't see them anymore.
Dude, you know what's crazy and even better? It's this really, really rare thing. Nobody ever uses it anymore, okay? And I'm going to let everybody in on a secret, okay? This is this really impossible thing that no one thinks to use. And it's called the entire rest of the world that isn't the internet. They've got shops out there. They got movie theaters. You can go and buy a coffee from a human being. It's bonkers. You can get like a pizza. You can walk into a place where they'll cook the pizza and then they'll let you eat the pizza in the same place they cook the pizza. It's bonkers. You should really just try it out. And that requires you just shutting off the phone or shutting off the thing or coming to ICCC. Come to ICCC and talk with Star Wars Theory if you don't like him. I am quite sure he will sit there and talk to you about his ideas and what he really thinks. But I mean, dude, it's crazy. Some of the things that like they accuse him of, and it's like, you obviously don't realize he's from Canada. Like,
I mean, for the longest time, I didn't know he was from Canada. I mean,
but they'll be like, oh, he's speaking out for blah, 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 blah. And it's like, dude, it doesn't even affect him. He doesn't even pay taxes to this side of the pond. Like,
yeah, like, I don't remember I think it was something, somebody was accusing him of something for The Last Jedi. And they were like, yo, you're making it political. And he was like, I'm Canadian. I was like, there's no way this dude's Canadian. He doesn't have the accent or anything. And I looked it up and I was like, well, damn, I was wrong. Dude's Canadian.
See, there you go. You've seen too much South Park. You think all Canadians got an accent. But that's what I'm saying, man. I don't know. Everybody just needs to, I don't know. Everybody wants people to be more inclusive and more. I just think if everybody loved each other a little bit more, and I know it sounds corny, man, but I don't understand the hate and division. And to be honest, I don't know everything about YouTube, but every single hate and division thing that I have seen in the past 2 days have come from the people that hate him. Like, I haven't seen, and all his people are like, just show me where it is. He's never said that. Those are the comments I see from his people. And then from the other people, I see them DMing me being like, you better do the right thing or else we're going to blackmail your con. What? Like, go ahead, dude. You're not understanding. And no one understands this. I am literally just some dude with a platinum card. Like, you can't stop me. There is no boss of mine to call. You know,
like you said earlier, you've got some of the best security detail. Like, you're either going to play nice or you're not going to play at all.
No, you're going to get removed immediately, and then I'll have you in the back of a police car in 15 seconds. So that's why everybody always thinks, oh, ICCC, nothing bad ever happens, nothing ever gets stolen, nothing ever. And the reason why is because it's like it was back in like the 1940s in Vegas. You know what I mean? Like, somebody does anything wrong at all, 8 people show up that you don't even know are on the security detail and remove them. Like,
dude,
that. Do you know what I mean? And everybody's like, oh, how does that happen? Well, the reason why is because I don't outsource my security detail to whatever ridiculous thing that has, like, I don't know, you know what I mean. You've walked into other cons. You walk past somebody with something that says security on them, and you're like, I don't know if you can, like,
dude, to be honest with you,
walk to a store, let alone
Ocala, I couldn't tell the difference between people cosplaying in security outfits or actual security guards. It was like, just there were so many times people would be like, hey, this is going on, and people would be like, I'm a con goer. Like, why are you coming to get me? Why are you dressed as a security guard, first of all?
Yeah, why? But that's what it is, man. I mean, it's like, I don't know. We leave the politics. The best I can do is say, leave the politics at the door at ICCC. It's not allowed. And if we catch you being mean to anybody and I mean, this goes both ways. I even told Theory, and he's like, dude, I would never do that. It's never anything I've ever done. And I'm like, listen, man, you get into it with somebody and do something bad, I got to toss you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's like, I would never do that. And I have also said it to the other people on the other side, where they get into it and they start, I don't know, throwing eggs, but nobody's going to throw eggs. Eggs are $500 an egg now. But you know what I mean? If something like that were to happen, they're going to get removed too. Because that's the hook, man. I don't rely, even Star Wars Theory, they can pick on him a bit because he relies on YouTube. He relies on Disney. He relies on, you know what I mean? All these different things create his creations. Me, I don't rely on anybody, man. I don't owe nobody nothing. I'm unstoppable. So that's the thing. I don't know. I want people to realize that ICCC is for fun, for happiness, for enjoyment, for exactly what we just did on this podcast, bro, which is two people that have never honestly really talked heavily before, ever. And we just talked about the things we love for 2 hours, and it was effortless and it was fun. And I have laughed more than I have in the past 5 days. So, you know what I mean, dude? That's what ICCC is, what happened right here. And that's what it'll continue to be. So everybody out there, if you're watching this, be nice to each other. For the love of everything good in this world, just be nice. There's no reason to hate each other. There's no reason to hate something. And even if somebody said something you don't like, there's no reason to hate them. Why don't you try talking with them? And maybe they'll see it your way. You know what I mean? But anyway, dude, thanks for letting me take your platform for like an hour. But this doesn't happen to me, so it's very stressful for me. I'm some guy trying to make a fun con. You know what I mean? And there's like people like literally telling me they're gonna make sure I'm blackballed from entertainment or something like that. And it's like, dude, it doesn't freaking matter. I'm not in entertainment, man. Sorry. I got a trucking company in real life. And if you want to go complain to anybody I work with in the trucking industry about something that happened at a Star Wars TV show, they're going to laugh you out of the building because they don't care. They don't even watch Star Wars, man. I'm just a nerd with a real job.
Yeah.
So thanks, bro. Thanks for having me on, man. And thanks for letting me talk. And I know you were there when I announced it and everything. And I didn't expect this, but also it's just because, man, I do not have my pulse on the future of politics or whatever. I don't care. It is not my ocean. I'm sitting on a surfboard in it. Everybody could do whatever they want. I have always said that. Dude, if you like to do this or you like to do that or you don't like this or don't like that, that's fine. Everybody can be their own person. I've got no beef with what anybody wants to do in their own life.
Yeah, exactly. It's people are just fucking weird. That's the
Dude,
best way.
Totally, man. But the thing is I'm saying that, and I am surrounded by toys, and I throw a convention for a bunch of people that tell me I'm a horrible person. So I'm freaking weird, bro. And that's okay. We can all be freaking weird in different ways, man. Just stop with the hate. Stop with the division. Stop pointing fingers. Unless you really have something. If there's something, man, if somebody like steals money from you, yes, report it and say something. But dude, I have literally spent the last 48 hours of my life listening to, because I always want to listen and I always want to be understanding, but I have listened to every single person that has flipped out about me getting theory, and every single one has not sent me anything except for one Rolling Stone article where it was a complete opinion piece that he wasn't even interviewed for. It was like, we spoke to a Star Wars Theory fan, and that's like, dude, do you know the kind of thing you could do to Coca-Cola if you said, we speak to a Coca-Cola fan? Like, how many people drink Coca-Cola, man? I'm quite sure there's serial killers that drink Coca-Cola. Is that really Coca-Cola's fault? Like, what the heck? So, and then the other thing is, what was the other thing? It was something else like that. But the thing is he's never said any of the things they accuse him of. I don't even understand it. And if he has, everybody out there, feel free to send it to me. I'll look. And if it is horrible, he won't come. But I've had my door open for 2 days on anything, man, and nothing has been sent. That isn't just somebody's opinion about somebody's opinion, which...
Oh, he even put a video out one time talking about somebody accusing him of something. He's like, if you guys can send me a video with timestamps, I'll send you
Yeah.
like 10,000 USD. Nobody has been able to pull anything.
That's what I'm saying, man. And I'm finding that too. So I think personally, as the crazy person that runs ICCC, the whole point of this convention is for everyone to come together, to be happy, to be civil, and to be together as fans. So as far as I'm concerned, and the more and more I look, the harder I'm going to defend the fact that I do not see anything, and no one has produced anything that this guy that I don't know at all. I've had 2 phone calls with him. I've talked to him a grand total of a week and a half. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know him. I don't watch the show because I'm not a YouTube watcher, except for fixing stuff. But all I know is it to me, because I've asked everybody, prove it. Show me any proof. Because I really want to hear you. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything at all that is any kind of actionable evidence of him doing anything wrong ever. He just seems to be pretty freaking famous, so he's got people that just hate his guts. But I mean, that's not fair, and that's not right, and that's not Star Wars. So as crazy as it is, and I'm sure as much as my DM box will be full after saying this, who's the bad person? Because I don't think it's the guy that hasn't said anything ever and that has made 10 years of unlimited Star Wars content for Star Wars fans to enjoy. Now, maybe I'm wrong about that. I've not even talked to him about this. He may never even see it. But I don't know. You know what I mean, dude?
Yeah.
I'm going to defend him until there's something where I shouldn't defend him. If I see something where he's like, I hate this group of people because they're blah, 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 fine. That's bad. You can't do that. You shouldn't hate any group of people for anything. But there's nothing like that, dude. So the more that these people come at me and flip out on me and tell me to do the right thing is to allow this guy to play Star Wars. Because he's a Star Wars fan. He knows about Star Wars. And as far as I can see from everybody I've asked, he's not done anything bad except emotionally share his opinion about Star Wars. And I'm sorry, man, if the big tent pole of the whole torch and pitchfork thing against Theory is the Acolyte, dude, the Acolyte was garbage, except for the hand-to-hand fighting sequences. It was not a good show. It just wasn't. It was sloppy. The Trinity part was good. Smilo Ren is a direct knockoff of Chainsaw Man face or whatever, right?
I still can't believe that, man. Like, I was going with the whole, like, yeah, you could potentially think it's a Bith. Now that I've seen Chainsaw Man face, whatever the hell it's called.
That's literally what it is. They just ripped somebody
off.
else's character. Yeah. Those things are problems, and if we're not allowed to say that those things are problems, then it's never going to get fixed, and we're not going to get things that are better, like Skeleton Crew, or like Solo, or like Andor, or like, well, not Andor. What's the one that is Andor that was the movie?
Rogue One.
Rogue One. But that's, where we get stuff that we really, really like. And I love TFA, and if enough people didn't complain about the complete train wreck that was The Last Jedi, we wouldn't have gotten The Rise of Skywalker, which I sure as heck enjoyed. So I'm going to keep talking, and I'm going to keep supporting people that want to share their opinions, as long as their opinions are, about Star Wars. And I don't know. Dude, I'm not trying to back this guy because I wouldn't do this for even like a guest star of mine. And he's just some guy with booths that's going to talk about the con. But I have never seen a complete false narrative like I see about this dude. And I've looked as hard as a human being can look. I have looked. And it's just fake. There's no truth to it at all, at least as far as I can see. And I'm sorry if I say something on a podcast or if I write something in a Facebook post, you can screenshot that till the end of time and show it as proof that I did X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've been asking for proof for 2 days, man, and all I've been doing is getting yelled at, and not a single person has sent me a video with this poor dude saying anything he said. I even texted him last night. I'm like, bro, I am so sorry that somehow it just seems like people just, some folks just hate your guts. and you didn't do anything wrong. But it might be because of the 3 million followers, man. Whenever you have that many people watching your stuff, there's going to be people that hate your guts. There's people that hate my guts, and I've like literally never done anything at all to anyone ever.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. I
So
mean,
anyway,
you have handled all the yelling and everything that, like, all the shitstorm that's on the post, but you've handled it a lot better than I've seen some of these like professional companies handle something like
it's because I really care about the fans, man. I'll tell you what, you go write 1-800-MEGACON, see if they respond to you.
that.
But I try to hear everybody's opinions, man, and I never want anyone to feel uncomfortable or excluded ever from a thing I do. And the thing is the only reason why they're uncomfortable or excluded is because they've either made it up in their own head or they've read a headline of like a Rolling Stone article that if you just read the article, it's not even him that says any of it.
I'm
Like,
definitely going to get pegged as making fun of people, but I don't think people understand that they can, scroll down on these news articles. Like, I don't think
see
they
the
actually
headline,
know
and the
that
headline is just yeah. Shoot, man. But I don't know. Whatever. I want there to be more Star Wars, and even if we're the ones that have to create it by doing podcasts or Comic-Cons or whatever, fine. But there's going to be new Star Wars forever, and I hope that whatever you are writing, once it is complete, you send that over and somebody at Lucasfilm picks it up and makes an awesome freaking show about it. Because I can tell one thing, brother, and that's your Star Wars. So that's good enough for me.
I try. A lot of it is me having to do some deep diving and find some like stupendous wave videos or like some lore, like 6-hour long lore videos explaining like the entire history of the species of the Sith. Like,
Yeah. Dude,
but
I get you, man. I get you. And
thank
books and
you.
stuff like that. So yeah, no, I don't know, man. It's good. You're a good dude. I dig the way that you dig Star Wars. I'm a big fan of that, so I can't wait to actually meet you in person in October or in May.
Dude,
Yeah.
I can't wait. I've said it a million times already. I'm probably during editing. I'm probably going to put like a counter, like at the end of this, how many times I said I can't wait. But I'm seriously so excited to meet you. Meet not even just like the guest stars. I'm more excited to meet like I said earlier, to see Tony again, to meet Ricky, to meet Gazer for the first time. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just excited to be surrounded by people that love Star Wars just as much as I do. Because
That's what it's
to
all
be
about,
fair,
dude.
where I live, we're very far and few between.
Yeah. Oh
Love
yeah,
Star
man.
Wars.
That's what it is. It's a Star Wars reunion, and it's for everybody, man. Everybody with all your opinions, left, right, center, whatever you want, but just leave it at the door. It's a galaxy far, far away, 40 years ago. Treat it as such. Cosplay as that. LARP as that. Whatever you got to do to get out of your head that a Starbucks coffee costs $9 or whatever, just get it out of your head and just come play Star Wars with us. You'll have a wonderful time.
Oh, but yeah, y'all go get your tickets and book your hotel reservations for ICCC. It's May 16th through the 18th, right?
16th through the 18th. You can grab everything at icnashville.com. Also, if you want to follow me or anything on social media, except I like post pictures of a tauntaun in the snow because I'm an old person. It's at ICCC in Nashville.
Of course, all links and everything will be down in the description for everybody watching at home. Michael, thank you so much for taking the time to come on here and just shoot the shit about Star Wars and talk about your
Thanks for
con.
having me. And we had a
Of
great
course,
conversation, dude. I totally dug it, man. I don't remember the last time I did a 3-hour podcast, so this is bonkers. So you got something going on, man. So good job.
Yeah, thank you. I try to listen to my guest stories and try to be as engaging like with what they're saying as much as possible. But
Yeah, you did a great job, dude. I'm still here.
but yeah, you guys go check out ICCC Con, and it's going to be amazing. Look out for all the content coming in May, and just everybody, like Michael said, just get along, play good together, and may the force be with you always. But peace, guys. We will catch you in the next one.
No, the force is my ally. That's all I need.